Hello, and welcome to the Timcast IRL podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Orange Man Bad Orange Soda. I'm just kidding, it's not, but someone sent this to us, and it's really funny, because it's Trump, and his head is an orange, and his hair is an orange leaf, and I thought that was hilarious.
Let me see this.
Yeah.
Have you had your Orange Man Bad soda today? Come on,
it's
drink
not-
the Kool-Aid like everyone else.
but hold on, Adam.
You'll fit in.
Now, I hear Orange Man Bad Soda is in fact not made with high fructose corn syrup.
That is correct, Tim.
Wow.
They use pure cane sugar.
Ooh,
Very
that's the
nice.
good stuff.
Yeah.
You know when you're drinking Trump brand soda, you're getting the real ingredients. So
The
I
real
once,
stuff.
I was doing a story once on water quality in Flint,
Okay.
and it was
I
actually
remember that. We were living together at the time.
yeah. I went there and
Miami.
I had to climb down to the river and scoop up river water with like these sample cups. I had this thing from NYU.
Yeah.
And so I went to a Trump resort in Florida, the Doral Golf Resort.
Okay.
And I got bottles of Trump water.
Okay.
And I was like, we're going to run a mass spectrometer
On the
test
Trump water?
On the Trump water. Because I was like, it's probably fine. But could you imagine if it came back with like garbage in it?
Yes.
It was
I can
clean
imagine it.
and amazing.
Nice.
Yeah, they came back and they were like, it's spring water with a Trump label on it. What did you expect? And I'm like, I don't know.
And then they informed you that there was uranium in the house water.
Yep, that was our house though.
That's
not,
right.
Not the Trump water.
That's right. The house we were living at had
That's-
uranium in it.
But that's normal for farms.
Holy.
Yeah, and
of the
outside-
fertilizers and
yeah,
stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Welcome to the Timcast IRL podcast. We're hanging out, I guess, wasting some
Immediately
time.
off topic.
No, we're having a great time.
Yeah, we're having a great time.
This is what I enjoy
You know,
most.
That's right.
we're apparently under attack, a cyber attack, knocking
yeah.
out cell phones. I don't think it's true, but this is what the rumors going around. I'm seeing a bunch of websites pop up, and all these tweets are going out saying it's a DDoS attack, a distributed denial of service. It's China and all. Maybe not. Maybe people are overreacting.
Yeah.
And we'll break all this down. But over in the Chaz, I'm
Chop.
sorry, the Chop.
Excuse me,
That's right.
Chop.
They changed
Chop.
the name. The Capitol Hill occupied protest.
Yeah, they
I
don't
guess.
want their power being cut off. They're like, no, wait, we're still U.S. citizens.
Yeah, we're just protesting. We're protesting. We're not autonomous. We need water and toilets.
Please.
You know what I think it is? I think they saw that in Chicago they're taking dumps in tents. Like not a bucket. Like in the tent.
What is wrong with them?
Where they're sleeping.
No, they set up a tent where you just like
The poop tent.
Yes. And so I think the Chaz people were like, maybe we want.
The poop tent.
That's
They
horrible.
realized being
I'd call it the
autonomous
poop deck.
means they're going to turn the
poop
water
deck.
off, the power off, and so they enjoyed their toilets.
Well,
so
they do have like 20 porta potties. Like, where'd they get those?
at the Chaz.
And who's taking care of them?
It's not hard to get a porta potty. You call up the company and they
Uh-huh.
you pay a fee or whatever, and then whatever they clean it.
How are they funding all this?
So it is mostly a
funding
hippie. It is mostly a hippie fest. But over in the Chaz, there's a video going viral of this dude Raz giving some young man a rifle, and I'll
Oh,
tell you
man.
what. Now look, I'm all about people having the right to bear arms and everything, but handing some random kid, he goes, who knows how to use a gun, and then some kid like he looks,
I know how.
he just raises, and
I
then
played Modern Warfare.
but then the kid immediately just looks around like confused, and they says, take the clip out, put it back in, and the kid doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
And then the screen like wipes, and it shows the kid with a mask on holding it, and I'm like, did he just hand out a rifle to some random
man.
young person? I'm saying young person because we don't know if he's 18, over 18, under. Doesn't look like he's 21. Maybe he's older. I don't know. But the fact is that Raz is giving out rifles to people, and he's this warlord of Chaz or Chop. I'm sorry, Chop.
Dude, I hope that kid doesn't get killed.
Seriously, that's messed up.
But this is where we're going, right? So Steven Crowder, you know him, you love him. He tweeted that he's never been more worried about the potential for a civil war because when far left activists start seizing an area with guns, what happens when some other people with guns try and take that from them or try and kick them out?
Supposedly today was when the Hell's Angels were gonna show
I
up.
don't believe it.
I mean,
I think that was fake.
I couldn't see any proof.
Right.
I don't know anybody,
Yeah, I didn't see him
so
talk
it's
about
like
that.
it was spreading around. People were talking about it. I guess they
But-
took a spot in California though, didn't they? I don't know if
I
that's
don't
true
know.
or not, but
But also, we're seeing something interesting happening in a bunch of different places. In Philly, right? We live in the Philly area. A bunch of armed men surrounded a Christopher Columbus statue. Actually, roughed some people up.
that
Not
were
super
trying
bad.
to take the statue
No,
down.
no,
or
there was
what?
a guy from Unicorn Riot filming.
Okay.
And so they, very much like Antifa, put on masks, went up to him, smacked his camera, pushed him around.
Oh, I saw that video actually.
And this is not the first time. This is like the second or third time these guys have shown up. And these leftists are calling these guys far right or right wing. And I'm like, bro, you don't get it. These are just Philly Dems. Like they're just like Philly dudes.
Yep.
I doubt they're even political. They probably vote Democrat because it's a blue city. But these are just like 30 to 40-year-old guys who are like, you come to my neighborhood, and they pull out a baseball bat. That's all it is. It's not political, man. It's you come to my neighborhood with that stuff, the locals show up. That's what's happening.
Yep, the
So
locals, man.
you take that into consideration with these guys showing up to Chaz with weapons. And what do you think's going to happen if someone comes to Philly with that kind of BS? Yeah, hopefully it doesn't get to that point. But then we got another funny story for you. I'm assuming we're going to get to all of these. In New York, 19th straight day of protests, I believe, right?
Yep.
And at
Shoulder
this-
to shoulder protest.
Shoulder to shoulder to protest. And guess what the mayor thinks is a top priority? Welding the gate shut of a Jewish community park. Something's wrong with this guy, man. He hates Jewish people. It's not even
Straight
a
up.
joke.
Yeah, it
He's
seems like it.
repeatedly targeted the Jewish community while allowing these protests. And then you look, maybe I'm being a little bit conspiratorial here, right? But you take that into consideration with those protests, and you sprinkle in a little bit of Chelsea Handler, comedian on Instagram, posting a Farrakhan video and defending him as people call him like, "Whoa, that's anti-Semitic," and she's like, "Well, you know, it's I'm sure it was rooted in oppression." I'm not kidding. She was like, "I think he became anti-Semitic because of his oppression," and then people are like, "You're so right."
Wow.
So you add in, like, Ice Cube was posting something they're calling anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
Then people are posting photos of him with, like, there's tons of pictures of Ice Cube with Farrakhan. And then I'm not surprised that Bill de Blasio is targeting the Jewish community the way he is. Anyway, if you're just tuning in, welcome to the show, man. You can hit that like button. I'm sorry, Adam.
Smash it! Smash that like button!
There we go.
Yeah.
All right.
Excellent. Right on cue.
There you go.
Of course.
Yeah! Okay, I'm done.
Yes,
Sorry,
you
I
can
get a little excited.
like the video, get a little tap, or as Adam says, smash it. You can
Smash.
subscribe,
Smash.
notification bell, and if you really do like the show, you can help us out by just like sharing it, telling people we rock. We're the best podcast ever,
Yes.
or whatever.
No, not whatever. That's the truth.
Definitely.
You gotta play it
true.
cool. You gotta play it cool, man.
Fact check.
No, that's
true.
your job. That's
No.
your job, not my job. I didn't agree to that.
Don't tell anybody.
I didn't
No.
agree to that.
Don't tell anybody about our podcast. Who cares? I don't care. Whatever, man.
Tell
Or
them how
whatever.
much
Or
you hate
tell
us.
everyone about our podcast.
Yeah.
Tell them how bad it is.
Yeah.
Tell them how great it is. I don't
Listen
care.
to it. It's awful. Yeah. Man.
Yeah.
Torture them with us.
And
I believe it.
before we jump into the first story, make sure you follow me at Timcast on Twitter and Instagram for, complaints about random stuff, because I complain on the internet. That's what I do for a living. But you can also follow at Adam Krigler,
there we go.
because you can send him your story ideas for the show, and then
Yep.
he goes through the list, and we talk about the ideas, and we very frequently pick them up and use them.
Yep.
And of course, there's always at Sour Patch Lids,
There's the-
LYDS, and she posts spicy memes and
I
also
do. Yes.
complains on the internet.
Also
Feel
very
free
much
to
so.
send her story ideas
Yeah, by
also.
all means.
Yeah.
I'll make a little thread too sometime.
So how about we talk about the cyber attack on the United States? Fox 5, Washington, D.C. reporting T-Mobile, Sprint, AT&T, and Verizon customers report widespread cell service outages. So I was sitting in my living room watching, what movie were we watching? Drop Dead Fred?
I
Yeah.
saw Drop Dead.
Dead
Yeah,
Fred was
Drop
playing.
Dead
I haven't seen
Fred.
that movie in so long.
Yeah,
So
it
old.
just came on. I didn't pick it. It just was like on autoplay or whatever.
It's
on
proof
Hulu.
that we're being hacked.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, right.
It was weird.
Whatever. I hear the movie's bad. I haven't seen it in 30 years.
I haven't
Cute.
seen it in that long
30
either.
years.
Kind of silly.
I
That's
have
when it
no
came
idea.
out. Yeah.
Anyway, my
on.
phone wasn't working.
Huh.
Yeah, and I was like, "Whoa, what is this?" And then apparently there's this massive cellular outage, and people started tweeting like crazy about it. But it's not just that there's an outage, and we'll read the story to try and get down to the facts. What's really going on? But it's this story. Check this out. This person tweeted. I have no idea who this person is, but they're getting a decent amount of retweets. This popped up on my timeline, and they say, "Yo, that DDoS attack was absolutely wild. This was from like 15 minutes ago, and that wasn't even the peak." So you can see right now, for those that are listening, I'll just describe it. You can see that all of these, it's a global map.
Can we make
and
it big?
And a whole bunch of like
Yeah.
lines are shooting out of different cities around the world and just slamming the United States. Now, I got to be honest. This is eye candy. This doesn't really explain anything about what's going on.
Indeed.
Yeah, so these things, whenever these things pop up, everyone's like, whoa, look at this cyber attack. And it's like, well, hold on. It may just be someone isolating general internet traffic. And it makes, from like what the U.S. is receiving or its requests to the U.S. And so people will say like, it looks like a DDoS attack. It could be. It could be. A lot of people think it is. There was a tweet that went out from Anonymous. They say the U.S. hit by major DDoS attack on June 15th. However, it looks like this is not correct. So my understanding is that what Anonymous tweet, Yornon Central tweeted out, they say the U.S. is currently under a major DDoS attack. For those that aren't familiar, it means distributed denial of service attack. And apparently this map is not current. I don't know. What I can say is T-Mobile went down. And apparently what happened then is because one network went down, it affected every network because they're connected.
Okay.
So I don't know exactly in what way it affected them. I think it may be as simple as like if I tried calling someone as T-Mobile or texting them, it didn't work. And then I would report issues on my end when it wasn't.
Oh, okay. I see.
But also when people's phones stopped working, then they would try and go on Facebook or Twitter or whatever. And then they would go on websites and be like, yo, Twitter is down. It's not working. It's like they couldn't figure out what was going on. Now, I do find that weird that people were, this is what people are saying. But here's what happened to me. I couldn't make texts or phone calls, but I was getting data. Some things were working perfectly and some things weren't.
Well, were you connected to the Wi-Fi of the house,
No,
though?
no, of course not.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the issue. My phone showed me that cell went down, but the data stayed.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so I couldn't make phone calls, but I could go to websites.
That's weird.
So I wonder if that has something to do with it. I honestly don't know. But let's read this and see exactly what this is all about, and then I will explain to you guys what a DDoS is. They say, according to Down Detector, customers from across the U.S. were reporting problems with their service, with a large number of reports coming from major cities including Tampa, Miami, Atlanta, New York, Chicago, Houston, and L.A. Hundreds of comments on the website said customers could not place or receive calls. Users flooded T-Mobile's Twitter account to report issues with their service. Apparently, someone from T-Mobile said, our engineers are working to resolve a voice and data issue that has been affecting customers around the country. We're sorry for the inconvenience and hope to have this fixed shortly. A spokesperson for Verizon said, Down Detector is falsely reporting Verizon network issues, and the company was aware that another carrier is having issues. But comments from customers on Down Detector suggest that Verizon customers from LA, Denver, Philadelphia, Chicago, and other cities were experiencing issues placing or receiving calls. But the Verizon spokesperson said perceived interruptions to its service could be explained by the issues affecting other carriers. A lot of factors can contribute to a false report on a third-party website, a faulty device, network traffic that slows but doesn't inhibit connections, commercial RF blockers, human error, network issues impacting other carriers, and more. I got to call shenanigans on that right now.
Yeah.
I'm not buying it. Nah. If somebody has a Verizon phone and they can't make any phone calls, I'm not buying their excuse. Well, it could be an RF blocker. What? That's illegal. Are you joking? Like someone's running a jammer on all of these people's phones where like China pull up a truck and like turn on the cell phone off button? Get out of here. Something's crazy going on. Sprint, which recently merged with T-Mobile, also appeared to be impacted, according to customers on Down Detector. U.S. Cellular, which apparently still exists.
Wow.
I know
I
that.
had no idea.
Appeared to be impacted as well. Both companies did not immediately respond to a request for comment. So that's just the story, man. Now, whether or not this is a real DDoS attack, I don't know. But people are pointing out that they're seeing massive outages across the board on Down Detector. You know what I'm kind of leaning towards? I think it might be an attack.
Yeah, I mean, we've spoken about it. It's like, where are we weakest? It's not our army. It's not our navy. It's our infrastructure, like our cyber infrastructure. Granted, this is like, phone carriers, but maybe this is just the beginning.
Check this out. This tweet here, it's not just phone carriers.
Really?
That's why I'm saying I think this might. So Down Detector is showing that Walmart, Google, Simple Mobile, Fortnite got hit, Cricket got hit, Airbnb, Mint, TrackPhone. Do you know why I think this is more likely to be an attack?
Why?
Some kind of infrastructure. So what some people are saying is
Could be just the beginning.
Well, here's the answer that I've seen from people. They said, if T-Mobile goes down and you're trying to use your phone to go to Facebook and Facebook won't load, you'll incorrectly think it's Facebook.
Right.
Except if your phone doesn't work and you can't get online, you can't go to downdetector.com to tell them this.
Right.
That's a good point.
So some people...
That was my question.
But-
you were like, people were tweeting that it wasn't working. I'm like, how are they tweeting?
Exactly.
How are
Yeah,
they tweeting? What?
exactly.
Was it Wi-Fi at their house?
But it could be,
That makes sense.
to be fair, and I still don't buy this excuse, that people... Because Facebook saw a spike too. I don't think Twitter saw spikes. That makes sense, right? It could be that people's phone didn't work, so they went on their computers and then took to Twitter.
Maybe, yeah.
But I don't see Twitter on this list, so maybe Twitter was down. I don't have that pulled up, but everything seems to have some kind of disruption.
I heard Discord had a blip too, although I don't have any proof of it. But people were mentioning it in the comments.
So to explain to all of you what a DDoS attack is, it's very, very simple. All you need to do is watch the episode of The Simpsons where Mr. Burns goes to the doctor and the doctor has the oversized novelty germs and tries jamming them through the door. And I mean this literally. So he basically explains to Mr. Burns that he's got every disease known to man, and this door is the gateway to his body, and because all the germs are trying to get through at the exact same time, they get stuck. So a DDoS, distributed denial of service, is basically this. So you get a bunch of different computers all at the same time to make a request on one server, and the server overloads and can't handle it all. So it's basically blocking the door, all those germs being smashed in, and then nobody can get in or out. So some people in the past used to liken it to like a digital sit-in, except it's actually a cyber attack, because what you got to realize, it doesn't leave permanent damage. As soon as they stop the requests, the server will clear and then be able to answer, calls. But if a country like China or some adversary starts targeting our, I don't know, say financial infrastructure, targeting
or power infrastructure.
Well, power is a direct physical attack, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if they target electricity and shut it down, like that's a physical attack against us.
Yeah.
If they jam up phone carriers,
I see.
they slow our economy down.
Right.
And that is a more subversive tactic. So it's actually smarter. I think the reason I lean towards probably some kind of attack, they happen all the time.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And how often did that happen?
I mean, there's DDoS attacks literally every day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's some maps you can watch online where it's like, here's one, and there's assumed intrusions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we're probably getting hit by some kind of attack every single day.
Yeah, and we got to remember, nobody's working still. It's not like everyone's gone back to work.
Back, slowly.
But yeah, 2 million jobs
2.5 million.
2.5 million out of the 40 million that have been out of jobs.
Yeah.
It's like people are still like sitting there on their phones all day long, like, hey, what this blip? Like, how long did it last? It's obviously phones are working now.
Yeah, should be back.
Was it a little bit of a blip? I don't know.
so-
Is it a normal thing that happens often that we don't notice because we're busy
definitely
working?
not.
Today's
Definitely
okay. So I was finishing up stuff in here at like 4:10, and I looked at my phone and I had zero reception.
So this is hours.
Yeah, it was hours and hours.
It was like 4 hours.
That's
Yeah,
a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So
Now look,
this feels like a test.
I'd not seen that yet.
Feels like stage one. Let's see
I don't think so.
how much we can
No,
push.
I think that if this was an attack, it was a
Excuse me.
mistake. It was an accident.
Hmm.
So if they're actually going to try to attack us, they don't want us to notice. Think about all
Good
of the
point.
business phone calls that didn't go through because of this shutdown.
Yeah, good point.
Now imagine if they could shut us down without us realizing we're being jammed up.
Mm-hmm.
They could slow the economy down, allowing them to grow faster than us, build faster than us, and that's it's basically an economic race. We're trying
Yeah.
to expand faster than they are. Once we realize we're under attack, we shore up our defenses, and then we take away their ability to hurt us, or they have to try and invest in new ways to come after us.
I think we should do that anyway.
No,
Yeah,
definitely.
for
dude.
sure.
What are we
But-
waiting for?
This is the smartest thing that whoever it may be, I think everyone's going to lean towards China.
Yeah.
So would be to
I've seen like 50 China comments.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, for
totally.
sure.
Of
For
course.
sure. Yeah.
China.
hey man, they got 1.3 billion people. We got 300 million people. They got a billion more people than we do.
Yeah.
I'm not confident, bro. I think Thucydides' trap. I mean, we've talked about Thucydides' trap before. For those that aren't familiar, it basically means that in the past 500 years, there have been 16 times when a dominant power was surpassed by a rising power. In 12 of those 16 times, war broke out. So a lot of people are saying we have a greater than chance probability that there will be a war between the US and China. I am not confident that we will come out on the right side of that one, that we will survive it. I don't think so.
With the war with China, you mean?
Yeah. And I think it might not, I think it might just be a complete collapse on the US's end. What people got to realize, that they haven't been following this stuff. China's been getting its tendrils everywhere and everything, in Australia, in Africa, in South America. They were proposing building a Nicaraguan canal
Right.
to bypass the Panama Canal. Think about how crazy that is. The Panama Canal is a crazy project to bridge the oceans to get you through, through Panama.
Yep.
Nicaragua is way more landmass. And that China actually was like, we'll do it. We'll get people to dig a canal through it. And eventually it fell through.
Right.
But they're doing tons of stuff in tons of countries. Mike Pompeo said, we've already been infiltrated across the board. He said, he gave a speech where he said to all the governors, it's affected you already. From every level of government, we've been infiltrated. If that's the case, how do we survive this?
This is a tweet from Donovan Hale. Someone tweeted on my page. excuse me, and fits perfect into this. I'm just going to read it here. It says, "Hi, Adam. I'm a listener and a fan from South Africa. I'm terribly concerned that you Americans don't seem to realize that you're the only ones preventing the CCP from taking over the entire planet. I don't want to be droughted into a war against the country I wish to move to." So I guess he wants to move to America. "So please do whatever is possible to stop these hippies in Seattle. You have no idea how vulnerable you guys look right now." So obviously it's more than just this Chaz thing. And it isn't just America that's crumbling. We got Britain that's fighting each other. France,
man, nuts.
France, there's a war going on right now. It's like,
Yep.
it's not just us. And then you probably think, what's going on in China? They locked everyone in. They've got everyone in a stranglehold. And now here we're fighting each other. And it's like, this is exactly where they want us.
Look at what was going on in the United States for the past several decades, with our politicians selling out to China at every opportunity.
With
Our university professors
Yep.
taking money and then lying about it and getting arrested for it.
Yeah, they just found 14 more, like
It's
2 days ago
insane,
or something.
Right. So
Yeah.
for those of you that don't know,
every day.
there are these professors that are getting paid by China, working at our universities for what is it called, like 1,000 talents program or something?
No, I'm not
That
really.
sounds right.
Yeah, I forget what it's called.
Then they get grant money from the U.S. So the U.S. gives them money and says, do research. Then they go to China, and China's like, we'll give you some money too. Why?
We'll give you more money.
But so some people argue it's espionage,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not charged. They're not being charged with that. They're being charged with fraud because they're lying to the U.S. government. I have one idea, and it's from my experience working at one of these lefty, ultra woke news outlets.
Okay.
These companies don't force you to write woke trash. They hire people who they expect to write woke trash and pay them a ton of money.
Well, it's more correctly write stuff that's going to get clicks, which
Right.
happens to be woke trash because you got people on both sides. Like, I've seen people posting, retweeting and posting stuff that's hilarious and cringy. They're like, look how bad this is. Look how cringy this is. And it's getting retweets and sending it around
So
from both sides.
Here's my point. My point is, no one is forcing these people at Vox or BuzzFeed to write this garbage.
Okay.
They just don't hire the people who would write real journalism. They hire the people who write garbage.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if the reason these professors are getting paid by China is simply because they have subversive or ridiculous ideas. So you think about it this way. Let's say you have a really, really good professor, is really smart,
Okay.
teaches all these young people how to be strong and good citizens to help save the world. But they don't make a lot of money. So
Nope,
what China
they don't.
does is they find the really, really bad professors and make sure they live like kings so that they're empowered to keep doing what they do, an awful job. Now, I'm not saying I know anything about these professors. I don't know if they're doing an awful job, but they're certainly lying about it.
Yeah.
But think about it this way. If you have 10 professors, 5 are really good and 5 are really bad, and you make sure, they're all underpaid, then the 5 really bad ones you secretly pay so they have good health care, they have really comfortable houses and great food, they will thrive, and their bad job will show in the kids they teach.
Yep.
Meanwhile, the good professors are like, I lost my apartment, man. I've got to go somewhere else. I got to move, or I can't do extra activities with the kids because I need to moonlight another job or something.
And then you got half of those who are just getting canceled for trying to stand up for
Yup.
freedom of speech and just
Yeah.
speak their minds.
Now everybody's getting canceled, man.
Everybody.
So a lot of people have been sending that Yuri Bezmenov? Is that it? The KGB guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, from
And
1984.
I mean, yeah, it's interesting stuff. It
Not
looks
not
like
the book, the actual year.
Yeah.
right.
Just letting everyone know.
It definitely seems like some seeds potentially were planted a long time ago, and they've started to take hold, and there's nothing we can do about it. Literally nothing. By the time you realize that your country has been subverted, you have too many people who believe in the fairy tale, and what can you do about it? Especially a constitutional republic like ours. Think about all of these people. Let's say it turns out we actually do discover that in the 1970s or whatever, Russia, the USSR, started funding subversive programs to spread insane ideas that they knew would take root in the next generation.
Okay.
You have an entire generation of people whose worldview is built on this insanity. And even if we knew it was true, they would say, I don't care. I believe it's true. You can't change them. And so now the United States is on the verge of fighting itself. That's one way to get rid of a superpower. Hey, you want to avoid world war? Maybe this is why so many politicians over the past several decades sold us out to China. They were like, it's easier to just lay down and take the cash. Otherwise, war would suck, right? We might die. It makes me wonder about the past several decades. All of our jobs moving to China, the TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, Trump crushed it,
Yep.
would have allowed companies to move freely to China and send all their products right back to us,
Yep.
empowering them to control our medicine, all of our manufacturing, basically.
No, it empowered.
Right, it did.
Right.
Or
not-
the TPP.
right. They have all
No,
our
well,
medicine.
the TPP would have been tenfold worse.
Yeah,
And it was crushed by Trump. Bernie wanted to crush it too. Now I wonder if, man, you look at what's going on in these Democrat states
Mm-hmm.
where we've got Bill de Blasio straight up saying like, if
It's ridiculous.
you Jewish people in your park,
Show this stuff. Show it. Let's talk about this.
let's yeah.
Look at
Let's
this.
switch over to this. This is truly amazing. Ooh.
NYC authorities weld Brooklyn playground shut one day after massive Black Trans Lives Matter protest. I appreciate the article, National Review, but boy, I gotta say, you missed it. It's a good job. It's a good job. I'm not trying to drag you guys, but they're literally protesting right now. Okay, this is from today, 4:26 p.m. Monday is the 19th consecutive day of protests in NYC.
Wow.
And you can see all the people out and about, standing shoulder to shoulder, doing their thing. But it's okay. They're wearing masks.
Right.
That's the thing, I guess, right?
Sure.
Now here's what we got. Here's what the Jewish community has to do. They have to actually use bolt cutters to pry open the gates because the city came and welded it shut.
That's so messed up.
This is creepy stuff, man. I'm sorry, dude. I'm getting more and more creeped out every day. You know why? Chelsea Handler. She posts a video of Farrakhan. I don't know if you guys have ever listened to Farrakhan. This dude really hates the Jews.
Wow.
And he's got a ton of support among high-profile Black Lives Matter activists. Chelsea Handler posts this video. It's on her Instagram right now. You can go look at it. Read her comments. And I'm telling you, man, these people they're losing it. It's funny because I really hate comparing everything to Nazi Germany.
Well,
But-
it's pretty easy to do so nowadays.
Yeah, they're making it hard
Well,
not to.
And
Right.
but they say the same thing about the right. They're like, oh no, Trump. And it's like, what is Trump doing? His Supreme Court nominee, Gorsuch, just wrote the opinion in favor of LGBTQ rights in the ruling today.
Very Hitler-esque.
Yeah, it's just like Hitler. But you look at what Chelsea Handler posted, and this freaks me out. Farrakhan video where a woman opens by straight up saying, you've given up and you're basically a bigot who thinks we need to be separated. And he goes, yup.
Wow.
Chelsea Handler posts that like, wow, enlightening. And then you look at the comments and people are like, I can't believe you would post this. And she goes, no, you don't understand. The craziest one, I think, is where someone said, if you found a video of like an early Hitler, you think that would be good to post if he made his points? And she said, the difference is that Hitler, killed millions of Jews and Farrakhan is just an anti-Semite. And it's like,
But that's the same thing as finding a young Hitler.
Exactly.
Before he killed everybody.
Right.
It's like, what's the difference?
or they didn't say young, but they're like, if you found a video of Hitler or something.
Okay.
But the point is, like, if someone is espousing Nazi rhetoric because they didn't literally lead the charge, you think that's okay, Chelsea Handler?
Yeah, what?
No, I'll tell you what I think, man. I think these people are overt anti-Semites. And the reason why I draw a parallel with Nazi Germany is simply because, I don't know if you've ever seen that photo where all the people are doing the salute and there's one guy like this.
Yeah, I've seen it.
I'm like, I wonder what that guy was thinking.
Yeah.
I wonder what he was thinking. Is everyone around him just blindly was like, oh, and like, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
And then I talked to my friends, and boy, do they try everything in their power to justify the overt anti-Semitism that's come out of these groups.
I don't understand that.
It's
like they're trying to make sure racism stays alive. Like, no, we got to keep racism.
I mean, it's worse
Because
than that.
You're right. It's
Dude.
worse.
It hasn't even been 100 years
Seriously.
since World War II, and now you've got. So you know about what happened with the Women's March?
No. What
You
happened
know what the Women's March is? It was
Sure.
5 million people protested. It was the biggest protest
Pink hats.
in the pussy hats. And in Washington D.C., the protest was so large that the whole protest march wrapped around and touched itself. It was one ring.
Wow.
It wasn't even a march anymore. They were supposed to march around this area. It just connected.
Wow.
So you could like walk. It was wow. It's massive.
So if they were playing Snake, they lost.
Mhm, yeah, exactly.
Yes. The organizers had to quit because it was discovered that they were overt anti-Semites
All
who
of them.
believed crazy conspiracy theories about the Jews.
Wow.
They were saying saying crazy stuff about the slave trade, and apparently like some of the other early organizers was one woman who was Jewish was like getting freaked out, like this stuff's not real. This is like white supremacists, like insane, and they told her to shut up.
Wow.
And then it wasn't until how long did it take? Like 6-7 months or something.
It took quite a while. It was
Quite a while.
immediate, Yeah.
It was an expose from a Jewish magazine that was like, "Do you realize who you're propping up?"
Yeah.
And then you like one of these women, like they're all associated with like Ocasio-Cortez and the progressive left.
Okay.
So here we have this is the man. It's such a weird thing to me. Black Lives Matter is an identitarian movement.
Okay.
On the surface, I'm not saying it's bad. I dislike it. Okay, it's basically like identity as a pretext for policy, political action, protest, etc. You sprinkle in the fact that you've got Chelsea Handler now actively promoting Farrakhan,
Yeah.
what Farrakhan has said and what he believes, and I'm like, so you have an anti-Semitic identitarian group? That really does overlap with the
doesn't
Nazis,
sound
man.
good.
Yeah,
now I know it's
really
not
does.
white supremacy,
Right.
but man, to see what Bill de Blasio has been doing over the past several months, what was it in April? He went to a funeral service, arrested people,
Yeah.
and then in May, threatening them all again. Now it's not even like I don't look, man. I don't know if somebody wants to explain to me what's going on with this guy, but what did he do? He specifically targets the Jewish community. He by welding their park shut. Like
Yeah, that's messed up.
let me show you what they did. Let's play this clip right here. So here's what looks like.
This is them opening it up. Yeah.
Yeah, let me make it
Bunch of
bigger.
rabbis. Yeah.
They have to actually get bolt cutters.
And they make it happen, man. Look at
Yeah,
that.
they do. Now, why does this keep happening to the Jewish community here? Let me tell you something else, man. That's freaking me out. Do you know about the random attacks on Jews in New York that's been going on for a long time?
No.
How long has this been going on for?
Like a year.
A
couple
year.
years, yeah.
There's videos where just like people in Brooklyn will run up and just start beating on Hasidic Jews.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Really?
Yep, and that's everywhere. So they formed something called. Do you know what the group is called? They formed the.
Let me look it up.
Yeah. There's a group of. They have patrol cars that look like NYPD,
Okay.
and it's got like an emblem on it, and they call it. I don't know what the name is because I'm not super familiar.
Jewish Defense League? No.
No.
That's something different.
Starts with an SH, I think.
The Shamrim?
Shamrim.
Unarmed
There it is.
Hasidic patrols.
Yep. Hasidic patrols because of how bad the anti-Semitism has been getting in New
Wow.
York. And look, man, a lot of these videos, the attacks are from young black men doing it.
Yep.
So I'm not saying this is a point of like I really, really doubt the entirety of the black community is okay with this. I'm saying I think it's like a rare sect of people that are infiltrating, that are overtly anti-Semitic, but their views are getting like to the higher levels.
Adopted. Yeah.
Dude,
It's
You
like they're infiltrating and appropriating all of these different movements and making it like subverting it all and making it their fight. Like, by the way, this is the root of it all. Is this what we're claiming?
you know what I think? I think that the white supremacists and like neo-Nazi types are just sitting back. They're just sitting back and watching.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure. I don't know what they're doing, but they kind of disappeared. And now all of a sudden we have all of these stories popping up of like these specific things. It's very strange to me. I was talking to my friend earlier today and I said, look at this video from Chelsea Handler. And they were like, well, I mean, that video is really old. And I was like, they just posted it, but it's a video from the 90s. What?
They
Dude,
just posted
you
it,
want- and-
meaning
and-
they
and
want you
listen.
to see it now and read the words, listen to the words.
And what's going on in the UK with Winston Churchill?
yeah.
So a bunch of protesters are threatening to tear down Winston Churchill, literally the guy who killed Hitler. All right?
Yeah.
And so they had to box it up to protect it because Churchill's racist, they said. I was talking to a friend and I said, can you believe they want to tear down Churchill now? Isn't it weird that all these things keep happening? Bill de Blasio targets the Jewish community over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Chelsea Handler promoting Farrakhan. The organizers of the Women's March promoting Farrakhan. And the things he said doesn't strike you as odd. Now they want to tear down Winston Churchill. Maybe it's confirmation bias. Either way, these things shouldn't be allowed to, we shouldn't stand for this.
Yeah.
I think this is just another supremacist group. So I think the Nazis are obviously white supremacy. This is something that Terry Crews was talking about when he was tweeting earlier. He was like, being a black supremacist is not a good answer to white supremacy. You need no supremacists. We actually need equality. So I just think it's more supremacy. I think it's the flip side of the coin, and they're targeting the same people.
And for some reason, they all hate Jewish people.
I'm not sure
It's
why.
weird, man. So you want to know what my friend said to me when I said, like, Churchill literally killed Hitler. Like, this guy is a World War II hero.
He didn't actually kill Hitler.
He
He didn't pull the trigger.
No, but it was the UK leading the charge with the aid of the United States, who stormed the beaches of Normandy. Like, the UK was the last bastion of Europe.
Yeah.
I know. Look, people are going to argue it was Stalin who killed Hitler or whatever. It was the communists.
Didn't he kill himself? Didn't
Yes.
he shoot himself?
But so the point I'm making is not that Winston Churchill literally walked in and went, Hitler mild, boy,
I just
time
gotta,
to go.
I just got to poke fun at you when I can.
But that's literally what she said to me.
Right.
She said, no, Hitler actually killed himself. I'm like, yeah, I know, but he was surrounded by Allied forces.
Right.
Yeah, but, well, Churchill didn't do it.
Oh my
And I'm like, no. The UK and the US stormed the beaches of Normandy. So I know we can give the US we saved them for sure.
Yeah.
But Churchill was one of the leaders who led the charge to do this, okay?
True.
I'm being a little, I guess, hyperbolic in saying he did it, but you know what the point I'm trying to make is.
Yeah.
He was one of the leaders on the side that stopped the Nazis.
Yeah.
And now it's, no, like the desperate attempt to defend what is clearly in front of our eyes. It's
Yeah.
freaking me out, man.
Or how they're calling to take down the Emancipation statue.
What was that all about?
Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
They vandalized that in the
him
UK.
emancipating
Right.
the slaves.
Exactly. Yeah.
But who said that? I didn't hear.
There's like a
Tweets and stuff?
a online petition to like take it down. It's like
you know
isn't
what,
that-
man?
That's the president that emancipated the
right.
slaves.
It's like Churchill.
What?
I would normally say it must be a troll, but in
Yeah.
the UK,
I don't know.
no, listen. In the UK, they vandalized a statue of Lincoln,
Mm-hmm.
and in Portland, they tore down a statue of Thomas Jefferson. They tore down a statue of Jefferson. They threw ropes around it, pulled it down, and they wrote slave owner on it. It's like, yeah, man. If you go back in time, every single person who ever lived was bad.
Yeah.
Did you know that certain indigenous people would literally sacrifice virgins?
Yep.
We
Yeah.
got to cancel them. We
That's
got
the
to
thing.
cancel them. They murdered innocent people.
Yeah, the
They were
Mayans.
abusing. It was misogyny.
Oh man.
No, we get it, man. We want to remember. You know what I always tell people? You got to remember the good and get rid of the bad. So in order to build up a great society, we say, hey, look at these really great things that work. Let's take these things. Look at these really bad things that were like really awful. Let's get rid of those things. Like we used to duel. I was reading about dueling.
Right.
I was
Bring
reading
it
about
back.
dueling today.
Yeah, we talked about dueling.
Yeah. First it was swords, rapiers.
Yeah.
Then they got pistols. So I was reading about it. Apparently, it wasn't really to the death.
No.
It was just the act of dueling restored your honor.
Ah, okay.
That you weren't willing to back down. And when it came to pistols, people wouldn't often get hit.
Yeah.
And with swords, they would disarm and win and be like, aha. But the other guy who lost was still like, I stood for my honor. I defended myself.
That kind of makes sense.
How can we do that nowadays? What non-lethal way can we bring that around?
They got, I don't
Is it
know,
possible?
to restore your honor.
Yeah.
Well, it's been happening.
Online dueling?
No, have you?
Kinda.
No. Have you seen the boxing matches between like these e-celebs?
Oh,
No.
yeah.
No, what's going on? Ted Cruz and Ron Perlman?
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
wrestle.
Oh, that's
Do it.
right. Yeah, basically, that's what I'm saying.
I was
Internet,
like, yeah, bring
internet
back
dueling.
dueling. Yeah.
It's,
Let's
I
make
mean,
it
I
happen.
see it all the time. I honestly, on my tweets, I say, what should we talk about? And someone goes, talk about this. And then they'll be like, whoa, you're so wrong. And then I watch the duels happen.
Box it out.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, this is, and 90% of the time, someone ends up getting blocked.
You know what? Maybe this is why everything's falling apart, because we got rid of dueling.
I think you're right.
Yeah. Think about it. You get two people on Twitter who are arguing with each other.
Yeah.
You say, hey, stop. No more tweets.
Take it outside.
We're going to bring you into the ring. We're going to give you gloves. We're going to have a ref on standby so nobody gets critically injured or anything. And you're going
Interesting.
to box it out. You can box it out. You know why that wouldn't really work, though?
I mean, that's a physical thing
We're
versus a
Americans.
mental
Remember the
thing.
video of the
Yeah.
Proud Boy knocking out the Antifa guy?
No.
Oh man.
That's exactly why they would never win.
It
Right.
was
It's like
instant.
that video, man, where the Proud Boy winds up and then boom, and the guy just goes rigid.
Oh man.
Oof. These people, man, they don't know how to fight. But let's do this. Let's jump to the next story we have,
Let's do it.
which is kind of in line with them not being able to fight.
Oh, this is insane. I can't believe you did this.
The Chaz. I'm sorry, the Chop.
Oh yeah.
I like Chaz better, man.
Whatever, it's
too.
Chaz. You guys
It's so
messed
much
up.
cooler.
Y'all messed up by calling it Chaz. It's Chaz now.
Seriously.
So
I'm not calling it Chop.
before we jump into this, if you'd like to get into the super chats, I just want to make sure everybody knows we won't be able to get to every single super chat, but feel free to chat whatever you can, and we'll try and read them to the best of our abilities. Coming up probably after the segment, and also smash that like button.
Smash it! Smash that like button! And I'll spin the UFO for you.
Ooh.
That's right. It's not
Fair
spinning.
trade.
That's
Oh
right.
my
It's not
gosh.
spinning right now.
Ooh.
Okay.
I need at least 5,000 likes before I spin it.
Oh.
The Chaz.
We're at 4.6.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
waiting.
Okay.
All right, go.
The Chaz.
The
The
Chaz.
Chop.
The Chop.
Nope, Chaz.
The Chaz.
Chaz.
I
Chop.
refuse to call it Chop.
Chaz up.
So there's this place in Seattle that I'm sure most of you know by now, but just because I have to, a bunch of lefties took over a 6 square block radius in Seattle. They called the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. It's now the Capitol Hill Occupied Protest, though they dispute what the CHOP really means. And one of the reasons people think they're calling it that is because, as they said, do you know what happened to people in the French Revolution who didn't get on board with the revolution? They got chopped.
They did get chopped.
Adam is now spinning the UFO.
We are now spinning the UFO.
We're in UFO spinning territory.
All right.
I was trying to do it all sneaky while you're talking.
Yeah,
Well, check out
it's
the-
not very
check-
sneaky.
check out this
Slowly
video.
bring in the okay.
All right.
Well, we
here
got 5,000 likes and then 6,000 likes
Oh,
like
sweet.
that. And I was like, I have
Spin the
to
UFO.
spin the UFO.
All
Takes
right.
priority. So
Take a look at this
thank
clip.
you, everybody. Oh,
It says, Raz is handing out AR-15s from the back of his Tesla.
I want one.
he's
got
got
a
a
Tesla?
He's got a
What?
Tesla.
He has a Tesla?
That's crazy. This guy's got a bunch of rifles.
Dude, he's living. If you have a Tesla, you're living comfortable.
He's living.
Yeah,
You're-
well,
you're,
hey, man.
you're privileged.
He's got rifles for everyone.
Isn't this the case with a lot of these like occupation style protests? Like
Yep.
rich
Trust
people.
fund babies.
No, look, it's always the people of means who have the ability to actually do this stuff.
Yeah, you can get free
That's
time.
true.
So take a look. It says in Washington, to own an assault rifle, a person must be 21 plus. If outside their own home or business, they can charge Raz with a gross misdemeanor for the first transfer to anyone under 21, then a felony for everyone after. In this video, you actually see this dude Raz. Now they've been calling him the warlord of the Chaz.
It's
or the
more
chop.
fitting now. Holy cow.
He walks up to his car. He's armed, and let me try and jump ahead. He pops open his trunk. He says something like, you know, who knows how to use a weapon or whatever. Here, let me make this bigger.
There we go.
This guy right here in the sweater. He walks up.
He's
Gets
like,
handed
yeah,
a rifle.
I know.
He's
how
like,
to
I
do
know,
it.
I know. Yeah, he's
Here,
just some-
someone take my GoPro.
How old do you think this dude is right here?
20, maybe.
Yeah, maybe 20.
I don't know.
face.
He looks
Yeah.
like he could be 18,
Seriously.
So here's the first question.
but he
And
could be
maybe-
could be in
maybe-
his early 20s. I don't know though.
Like, here's a question that maybe the
Oh man,
chat will know.
he was holding
So
it by the clip.
maybe
What?
here's a question that maybe the chat will know.
Oh my
Can
goodness.
you legally just hand a rifle to someone in Washington to just use however they want?
Let
Now you
us
can see the dude
consult.
walking around with these rifles. So I'll tell you what, man. Is the only argument that he gave a rifle to someone under the age of 18 or under the age of 21? In my opinion, you know what I find really funny? Where are all the gun control lefties to be like, you shouldn't be able to lend a gun to somebody?
I don't think you can. I don't think that's
you
legal.
can.
I think you
Yeah.
can in some places. That's why I throw it to the
I
chat.
don't know.
Can you are you allowed to take a
They
weapon
say
and be like,
no.
here you go? They're saying no, you can't do that.
Nope.
Overwhelming
Yep,
no.
I see a lot
Oh,
of
no.
no, no.
Well, I don't know if you've actually asked yet, or maybe you did, but still, it's an overwhelming no. Anyway,
Yeah,
I feel
probably
bad.
not.
This Raz is gonna get that guy killed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Whoever it is,
A young
it looks like
kid.
a kid, but if he's over 18, he's a man. He's an adult as far as we're concerned in this country. So he was given a gun. He clearly
Doesn't know
has
how to
no.
use it.
He was holding it like this, holding the clip of the gun.
And he's well,
That is
the
not
magazine.
how. You, yeah.
But
okay.
Raz called it a clip. I see people being like, it's a magazine, not a clip. It's a magazine.
Yeah, I guess
So-
it's a different kind of guns, different.
So he says,
Titles,
take the
but
clip
still.
out, then put it back in, and the kid's like, clearly doesn't know what he's doing. I
Yeah.
say kid figuratively. I don't know how old he is. So look, man, I gotta say, I'm kind of concerned about some random young person who clearly has no idea to handle this weapon.
Yeah.
Just being
Clearly not.
handed it.
Man, he's
Carry
gonna
this
get
around.
that. He's gonna get him killed.
Yeah.
So here's what Crowder said. Stephen
All right.
Crowder of Louder with Crowder
Oh.
tweeted, "In my lifetime, I've never feared witnessing an actual civil war. But when an American city is taken over by lawless criminals with guns, can anyone be surprised when citizens try to take it back? Also, with guns. Turn back now, please, Chaz Chop." First, I know exactly what the lefty media is going to do here. You know what they're going to do?
What?
Stephen Crowder, without evidence, claimed that far leftists with guns took over an American city. As we all know, a 6-block portion of Seattle has been occupied. The way Crowder described it, that's the media takedown tactic. Oh, he says an American city's been taken over. False. Nothing to worry about, everybody. Carry on. Because the New York Times and all these other media outlets are praising what they're doing, saying everything's fine. I love it.
I
CNN.
don't get it at all.
CNN in one day, Oliver Darcy writes, "Armed Antifa aren't taking over this space. That's just, if you listen to the right, here's what they'll tell you." On that same day, an on-the-ground reporter talking to, I believe it was the same day, talking to Anderson Cooper said, "Now, Anderson, you got to realize these people are armed and there is a potential for bloodshed should law enforcement try to take it back." So what
there's,
was,
there's a leader of Antifa like in there talking about, look, I don't even agree with everything they're doing here. But I forget, he's got all sorts of piercings. I don't know his name. I forget.
There's a bunch of
his name. He admits that he's without Antifa, and he's like, I'm not with them, but I'm here because this is where the action's at, and I'm gonna stay here and do what I need to do. Now I don't agree with them, but I don't care.
Here's what they like to do. CNN says Antifa is not even a real group. It's an idea. It just means anti-fascist. Then as soon as you get that idea walking around with guns and they call themselves like John Brown Gun Club or something, they go, well, no Antifa here because no one from the organization is here. It's like, wait, what? You were the one who said it was an idea. So now that we're saying, yes, the people there of these various groups like Rose City Antifa and Puget Sound John Brown Gun Club, those are Antifa affiliated organizations. They operate as cells independently, but they have leaders, they have weapons. They clearly buy stuff. Right now, there's video going around where apparently these John Brown Gun Club people are in vehicles with no license plates.
Yeah, I saw that.
So yes, they're there. They're active. Now look, man, I don't think I wanna keep leaning on the side of this is probably going to be silly and kind of just wash away one day. I don't know though, man.
I don't know.
Especially
they're starting to deconstruct, man. They're beating up some kid who I guess stole money out of and some keys out of a car lot.
They beat him up.
They took him, and Raz was standing there like trying to tell them to let go of him, and the dude who had him was like, "You shut up."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Whoa!" He told Raz to shut up, and then started to beat the daylights out of this guy.
They already assaulted somebody.
So it's like they don't have law and order. It's what I was saying.
Warlord.
It's a lawless place. They have a warlord, and the warlord's not even in control. The guy, he was you see Raz clear as day telling the other guy to stop. We're gonna try to figure this out, and the dude was like, "Nah, I'm from the hood. I'm not some celebrity." Dude. I forget what he said. It's some what is he? What is Raz known for? He's a
SoundCloud
rapper.
SoundCloud rapper. He's like, "I'm not a SoundCloud rapper. I'm from the hood."
Yeah.
And then he knocks this dude out.
Oh man.
Pummels him.
Raz does.
It's bad. No. Raz is standing there trying to get the guy to stop.
Yeah,
the guy's like,
Can't
no,
get him to stop.
you can't stop me. You shut your mouth.
Oh,
Like,
he
whoa.
said, I'm not like you, a SoundCloud rapper.
Yes.
I'm from.
Yes.
Yeah. Ooh.
He's like,
Dude,
I'm going to do this.
I watched a video where they surround a guy and they accuse him of being a thief. And they're like, why'd you run? Why'd you run if you didn't do anything? It's like, bro, let me tell you. If a mob of lawless people with guns and baseball bats and pitchforks are screaming, burn the witch, I'm running.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit there and be like, hey, I turned myself into you guys who clearly have no cohesive thought in your brains. All
Right.
you are just a mindless mob saying, burn the witch. Yeah, I'm running. But that's a sign of guilt to them. Man, it's like, I was going to make an analogy, but I know it's going to offend some people.
Do it.
Libya.
Do it.
Libya after the fall of, what was his face? Gaddafi, yeah. All the rival gangs started fighting, and it was just chaos in the streets. I know Libya was much, much, much worse than a bunch of dumb hippies dancing in the street. That's why I'm just making a light analogy that you've got roving factions trying to assert their random authority over a random place. It doesn't work.
Yeah, Chaz is not just a hippie zone. Definitely not.
You know what, man?
That's on the surface, maybe.
When I saw Occupy Wall Street and I saw this, I'm like, I know what Occupy was like. I really think this will just get washed out eventually. But the fact that you've got people like Raz handing out, rifles to people, they're not playing games. I mean, let me rephrase that. They're literally playing games because they're morons and they don't realize how bad it will really get.
Yeah, until that kid gets killed.
But they're playing for keeps.
Okay.
That kid's going to get killed, man.
I think so, too.
I mean, well, look, by now he's probably given the gun back.
I hope so.
Could you imagine what would happen if, people started shooting? That kid would have no idea what he was doing.
None.
And he'd be a target because he'd have a gun.
He might shoot himself.
Or some innocent
seriously.
people.
Or someone right next to him without knowing.
Yeah. So you've got, the point that Crowder is making. What's to stop some armed, I don't want to say right wing necessarily.
Yeah.
But, there was a preacher who showed up and he had a megaphone, he had a speaker, a PA.
Yeah.
And he was trying to preach. So a bunch of people grabbed him, pinned him down, held him, and stole his stuff.
The same dude who is the Antifa, one of the Antifa leaders from Portland. He was saying, I run Antifa in Portland, was one of the people that was choking that dude.
Yeah, I saw his picture. And Andy Noah's report on who that guy is.
Yep.
This guy, so what you need to understand about Antifa is that it's an umbrella, it's a cell organization type group. Antifa dates back to to Weimar Germany, I believe I'm pronouncing it right, where the Communist Party had a paramilitary wing, anti-fascist action. They flew that flag. Antifa today uses propaganda to say, it just means you oppose fascism, right? They're actually revolutionary communists. One of the highest profile Antifa websites is run by a group called RevCom, Revolutionary Communism. And they literally wear uniforms and they have boots and they goose step at protests. We see them all the time.
It's ridiculous.
So this dude who's down there, the guy you're talking about who's pinning down this preacher, is part of, I believe, Rose City Antifa, a branded cell.
Boom.
So I see this propaganda popping up all over the place. There's no such thing as Antifa.
It's like, no, they're there. They're openly saying that they're there.
Right. But this is well-to-do liberals who don't actually read the news. Yep. They just get their information off of CNN, and then they see memes. And so, like, I write this really long, thought-out post explaining very neutrally what Antifa is without criticizing. I'm just like, here's how they operate, here's what they do. And then people are like, oh. And I explain to them very simply.
Yeah.
The reason Donald Trump wants to designate Antifa terrorists doesn't mean literally they're going to take the word Antifa and place it on top of a board that says terrorists. It's so that if somebody throws a brick through a window, they say vandalism. If somebody is wearing the Antifa patch and throws a brick through a window, they say terrorism, because you are using violence to push a political ideology.
That is the definition of terrorism, yes.
I'm not saying I'm a big fan of the Patriot Act stuff. I'm not at all. I'm just trying to explain to you what Trump was trying to do with that. So here's what I think might happen. You get the John Brown Gun Club affiliated, like this guy, what was his name? Willem Van Spronson?
Willem Van Spronson, yeah.
Shows up to an ICE facility, I think last year or the year before.
Last year,
with a ghost AR, so home-built rifle, fire bombs, and starts just bombing the ICE facility, torches one of the vehicles, wasn't able to get the building. I believe he was shooting at the police. They shot and killed him.
Wow.
That was Puget Sound John Brown Gun Club.
Yep.
The same people who are walking around the Chaz, with rifles.
Wow.
So in the U.S., they can't do anything about that, their affiliation, because of the First Amendment. You have a right to express your opinions or whatever. But the point is, if these Puget Sound guys do something terroristic, I wouldn't be surprised if they get charged under terrorism statutes.
Yeah.
Or these Rose City guys. But I'll tell you what, man. It's funny. It's not a game to these people that a preacher on an American street gets thrown to the ground and pinned down by multiple people as they steal his stuff. And they tell him you can't be here.
I don't know if he was an official preacher.
No. I'm saying like...
He was preaching, for sure.
Right. So I don't mean to say that he's like literally affiliated with the church.
Yeah, I know.
In America, you're allowed to stand where you want and speak.
Right.
So think about it this way.
Well, at the time, they were still Chaz, which would be their own country. They were claiming.
Yeah.
So now they've changed it to CHOP.
Because they were colonizers and they were concerned, like, we conquered this land. What does that mean?
What does it mean? Supposed to do now?
Yeah, because they had an army marching at them. They're like, no, this is still America.
I don't know if that's the real reason.
I'm saying it.
But here's the point I'm trying to make about this
They
preacher
got
guy.
scared.
Man.
They
Look,
should be.
You've got this preacher. He's got his PA system and he wants to preach. You know, he said I want to speak about my king or whatever. He's clearly going there to defy them.
Definitely.
Now, what happens when then we saw some people walk through with American flags.
I mean, and for the record, that same kind of person goes out to the streets to defy everyone because they think everyone's a sinner. You know, I've seen them in New York.
Yeah.
You've seen them in New York.
They
stand there and they preach to everyone.
Wait, have you ever seen that video where the guy tries to punch the preacher and he catches his fist?
Yes.
Dude.
I saw that.
That video.
And he goes,
Yep.
I saw you.
That's funny.
It's funny, the smile that comes on his face. It's like,
I'm not a big fan of these guys. You know why?
Why?
I've actually tried talking to them and they don't. They tell me nothing because
the preachers, you mean?
Yeah, not all of them, obviously.
Yeah, it's like, but whatever. Let them talk.
Yeah.
I'm not going to listen. I don't have to listen to you.
I'm not super concerned about a preacher showing up. I am concerned about Antifa, literal known branded cell Antifa actor who's been arrested before with his mugshot being released, pinning a guy down with the help of others to steal his stuff because they don't like what he's saying.
And then do you see the video of him being completely unconscious, dragged down the block?
The preacher guy.
Same preacher.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
Man, I didn't
Completely
see that, no.
passed out completely. He was out cold.
Yep.
They were just dragging him down the street.
Dude.
Wow, man.
I mean, you don't see what happened beforehand, but I mean, you put it all together.
Well,
I'm pretty sure they
look,
messed him up.
A couple people wearing American flag bandanas, carrying American flags, walked through.
Yeah.
And then someone up and stole it from him.
Yeah.
Clearly going there to defy the far left protesters.
Yep.
How long until the same thing happens, but this time they've got 4 guys on each, standing in a formation with AR-15s?
I'm surprised we haven't seen it.
And then at
already.
what point, with they've got their, they'll have a Confederate patch or an American flag patch
Yeah.
or 3 percenters or Oath Keepers, and then one of these John Brown Gun Club guys or this dumb kid who sees them and panics and says, "What do I do?" And so he holds a weapon and he points, and then the actual trained legit guys are like, "Drop it, and they put him down.
And they will.
Or
One
the kid
shot.
fires, or the kid sees them and panics.
And starts an all-out. Oh man, that's what I see happening because
Yeah.
he clearly had no idea what he was doing. He was like,
I'm
"Oh
not-
yeah, I want to play this video game. This video game's dope. Look,
Bro.
he's got a Tesla, a new Tesla with guns in the back. Yeah, let me get one too.
Seriously,
Cool.
LARPing.
What do I do with this thing?
Now
though?
what do I do?
playing for
How-
keeps though, baby.
What do I do with my hands?
That's a real gun, dude.
Yeah.
Look, I got a hard optimism bias. I don't believe this could happen. I have an optimism bias on this one. It's just, nah, man. Life is stable. America's great. Everything's fine. It's a silly protest. Nothing's going to happen.
Oh, that's refreshing. That's nice to hear from you.
That's an optimism bias.
Yeah.
But you've gotta-
You call me an optimism bias. That's me all the time.
Right.
I mean, I don't mind.
You have to
I'm very
resist
optimistic.
the optimism bias. It is a fallacy. It will get you killed. So I have been in so many situations in conflict where you're like, nah, there's no way that could happen. And then boom,
It happens.
Molotov goes flying, explosion happens, and you're like, don't assume what you expect. You got to think about what's possible and, and where you are. And too often, we look at what's going on in Chaz. You've got something very different from Occupy Wall Street. Occupy Wall Street didn't ever even, I think, what's the word? I don't think anyone from Occupy ever actually broke anything except the sink in the Burger King. Because across the street from Occupy was a Burger King, and they would go to the bathroom there, and then somebody was like leaning on it and it broke. They were like taking a shower in the bathroom.
Ugh.
Oh, nice.
You didn't have people smashing windows and stuff.
Right.
You did have like one dude take a dump on a cop car or something like that. But over the past 10 years, things have really escalated in terms of how these protests go out. And now it's been fires and destruction and burning vehicles. Now you got seemingly normal people in New York throwing Molotovs, like these 2 lawyers throwing Molotovs.
Yeah.
Life in prison. They're facing life. You consider all of this psychosis that's been building up for a long time. These people are nuts, man. I heard somebody was preaching and they said that it was a Black Lives Matter activist saying they were tired of their people being genocided. And I'm like, bro, isn't it the single digits? Like the amount of unarmed black men who have been killed in this
It
past
doesn't
year or
matter.
whatever
9
Yeah.
in 2019.
in 2019. And that's bad. And I believe we need police reform and we should deal with that. But come on, bro. He was saying it was genocide and they believe this stuff. They are going insane. Violent crime is down across the board, better than it's ever been. Lethal crime is way down.
Yep.
Life-saving phone calls are up because of cell phones, meaning people are more likely to get treated.
Yep.
Poverty is reduced to nothing because of capitalism.
Yep.
And I think we're facing the results of our success, a lack of purpose. So then you end up with a desperate need to fill that purpose. So people create a purpose and say that, people in this country are being genocided or something nonsensical. And you get zealots, fanatics, who literally will tear down Thomas Jefferson, who will deface Abraham Lincoln, who will demand Winston Churchill. This is the UK now. And they show up to Seattle thinking they're in the revolution, and they bring guns and they give them to young people who clearly don't know what they're doing. So listen, I'll put it this way. I have an optimism bias. I really can't imagine a scenario where we get that call where someone texts you and says, are you okay? Are you okay? What happened? And you're like, whoa, what happened? And then they're like, oh, I just heard about this happening, near you. When I was in New York, when that black identity extremist killed those 2 cops
Yeah.
right by our house,
Yep.
literally like within a block,
Yep.
the first text I got was, are you okay?
Outside of the deli I went to probably every day.
Probably only a few hours before you went and got
Yep.
a sandwich or something.
Seriously, every single day I would go to this deli and
Yep.
right I would walk right past that spot every day.
We would have Magic the Gathering night,
Yep.
and I would go to the deli and load it up with Ho-Hos and Twinkies and Kit Kats and other nonsense and bring in big bags of nasty snacks. We're like, yeah, from the deli. And then right in front of that deli,
Oh,
2 cops
man.
got executed.
Yep.
I get a text saying, are you okay? And I'm like, what happened? And then all of a sudden a helicopter, like 20 feet over my building, swoops over, and I'm like, what the?
Yep.
I couldn't believe it happened in front of my building,
They were minorities.
like down
too.
the street from me.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm worried about. It's like everything's been so calm and stable for us here in the U.S. I think most Americans have an optimism bias.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, I remember, 3 years ago, I was in a group chat with a bunch of political reporters and stuff, and I was talking about my fears for a civil war. And there were a couple people just saying like, that'll never happen. You're wrong. It's impossible. And saying all these things. And I tried to explain to them like how I think it could happen and what would happen. And a lot of people who follow me know that this is what I described. Antifa getting more aggressive. And it's not hard to predict because it was literally happening. It's not like I'm saying like, I'm looking into the future and the lottery numbers are these. I was literally like, wow, man, if Antifa is going to do this and the right's going to do this, what do you think is going to happen next year if it gets worse? And they would tell me it won't get worse. It's over. The security state is too powerful. So this is my fear. You wake up at 3 a.m. and you're like, your phone's going crazy. And it's like your mom being like, turn on the news. And it's like gun battle, Seattle streets. Maybe not. Like I'm saying, optimism bias. But what's going on in France right now?
Well, I mean, it's gang wars. I don't know what.
Right.
See, it's the pandemic. I feel is the root to a lot of this. People were locked in.
40 million bored people.
People don't know how to do that comfortably. You know, we're a social species. We're used to going out and living our lives normally. And when you take like the base fundamentals of life, when people already didn't have a purpose, you take away whatever thing they did have, and people are gonna go crazy. I don't care who you are. You lock someone in their spot for whoever knows how long. You're gonna get cuckoo.
3 months, no job, no boredom.
Right.
And then you inundate them with this video footage of all this crazy stuff.
Right.
Their mind snaps.
And it's not just here. It's like everywhere. People locked down. The whole planet was locked down because of COVID.
This is why I think they didn't like Jordan Peterson. You know what? One of the things Jordan Peterson would tell all these people who listen to him, find the heaviest thing you can carry and carry it.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was telling people to make their purpose, to find their responsibility.
Do it yourself.
Yeah. Do it yourself.
And that's actually something that's interesting. Like I mentioned on Friday, it's like I see a lot of issues with politics. So I'm actually contemplating getting into politics. If everyone all feels that there's something wrong with politics, get into politics.
Yeah.
And that's not what they're doing. They're just going, they're wrong, they're bad. And it's like, well, why aren't you going and fixing it, getting into politics and trying to make a difference, or becoming a cop, becoming a police officer, to be that police officer in your neighborhood.
This is
like,
bro,
where
like,
are these people that are actually going out and doing these things instead of just complaining?
You're talking about the underlying ethos of feminist academia. So there's a meme comic where it's like a woman reads a pamphlet where it says like there's no women in STEM, and she's shocked.
Yeah.
And then she goes to college, and then the next panel is like she comes out with a gender studies degree holding a sign saying more women in STEM. It's like go join a STEM field.
Right.
But here was the point I want to make about Jordan Peterson. When he comes out and tells people, hey man, like find your purpose, clean your room.
Yeah.
That's bad for the revolutionaries.
Find
it's
your
real
purpose.
bad. The revolutionaries need idle hands.
Disenfranchise people.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They need the right and the left to be disenfranchised.
Right.
Yep.
Because an angry right is the enemy to rally everyone against.
Yes.
And disenfranchised leftists can join your ranks. But if you get a self-help guru who's like, clean your room, and then they start doing it, you're like, no, stop being responsible. Stop fixing your life.
No, be angry. Be angry at the bad man. And it's like, no, you're the bad man trying to convince me to be angry at everyone. It's like, no,
Bro.
I want it. We want to be like together. That's what I keep seeing it. Their worst fear is us holding each other's hands, lifting each other up. It's like, that's what we need to focus on. We need more people like that, bringing us up, bringing everyone together and lifting everyone up.
They want to manage the conflict so they can use it to gain power for themselves.
Yeah, you talked about what's Serena Williams' husband's name?
Alexis Ohanian.
Okay, so he left his job, and he dedicated
Board member.
$60 million
Yeah.
to whatever. And I thought about that after that episode. I was like, you know what?
Well, so let's get some context real quick.
Go ahead. Give some context.
Alexis Ohanian co-founded Reddit, which is now one of the most prominent social media sites. He recently announced he was stepping down from the board. He wants them to replace him with a black man or a black person, I think, and that he was going to be dedicating all of the earnings off of his holdings to programs to help, the black community.
Right. So I'm not talking about the first part of that. The second part, he is well off. He doesn't need all the extra money income from that. So for him to give it to, a community that needs it, that is amazing. And I didn't do this before, but I'm clapping for you because that's amazing. That's what we need. I'm not a millionaire.
It's private charity.
I'm not a billionaire.
Yeah.
If I was a billionaire, I wouldn't need $1 billion. I would be pumping it into everywhere I can.
Well, but here, listen.
And that's when I see people like that, and he's like, you know what? I made a lot of money. I could take these millions of dollars and pump it into a community that needs it. It's like, yes, we need that. And I didn't, I always felt bad since that episode.
Listen,
it's been on my mind.
I don't know what his
that's what we need, though.
But what is Alexis's liquid reality in terms of his assets? How much are stock? How much can actually be spent? I'm sure he's got more than enough to live. But there's no I'm, as far as I can tell, maybe aside from Vladimir Putin, no one's got liquid dollars in the amount of $1 billion, right?
Right. Oh, yeah, sure.
It's stock or stuff. It's tied up. They can move it around. They're
rich.
It's
a start, though. That's what we need. We need to start moving forward.
So I can respect the fact that he's saying, like, I've got enough. I'm good. I'm going to give to other people.
Yeah.
And Jack Dorsey announced he was going to give $1 billion.
Right.
And I do think the issue here is the identitarianism in both of those moves. They're saying, like Jack Dorsey said, I think he said women's programs,
girls programs,
and Alexis Ohanian said black programs. And I'm like, if it's private charity in that regard, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But I just want to be careful because the next step above that is involuntary, right? So there's a New York Times story that talks about how Republicans give more in charity.
Okay.
But Democrats give more involuntary charity. Right. That's literally what it's funny. They were like, while Republicans do give more to charitable causes, Democrats actually spend more per capita in charitable issues through involuntary means.
Involuntary.
And I'm like, you mean to tell me that they're being taxed and they don't want to do this, so they're doing it because they have to?
Right.
So my concern is, as long as we don't cross that line of government-mandated racial pretext for redistribution of wealth, which is like...
I'm not even touching into the racial part of it because I feel like we've talked about this. We have to fix what, the lower class areas that need the most help. And yes, it merges with a racial issue because there happens to be a lot of minorities in these areas.
For historical reasons.
But they're not getting the same amount of schooling. We got to fix that.
I think school's trash.
You're right.
I don't think anybody should go to school.
Education is a whole nother conversation that we can talk about because I agree with you completely. The education system's also messed up.
Look, it's this simple, bro. We have these people arguing that systemic racism quite literally means that black people have less generational wealth, which I've talked about.
Yeah.
And because of that, we need to help black people. And I'm like, you are correct. And the way you do that is through class-based issues.
Yeah.
So you will, by your own argument, disproportionately help the minority communities because you claim they're disproportionately poor or in poverty.
Well, I mean,
but you also make
some rich neighborhood doesn't need help, does it? Do we need to help them?
Right. They don't. But here's the issue. When you come out and say that, the Asian community is underprivileged, they're not. But I'm just using it as an example because it's like I'm part Asian. The Asian community is underprivileged, therefore we must give money to Asians. Would I get money? I don't need it. That's ridiculous. Just because of my race? No. What you need to do is you need to give it to people who actually need some kind of help.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not a fan of giving. I'm a fan of teaching. So, you give a man a fish, teach a man to fish, that whole saying. Yeah. So I think what we need to do is class-based solutions, and it solves everyone's problems. But guess what? The revolutionary Marxist communist people, they don't want that.
Yeah, they're standing in the middle of Chaz saying some what looked like a white guy saying, "Look, you need to go find a black person and give them $10."
Yep.
And I was just thinking to myself, like, how degrading is that? Like walking up to you
need this more than I do.
Look here. You need this. I don't. You clearly need this. It's wait. Is that not degrading?
Hold on.
I would be like pretty pissed off if anyone came to me and did that.
Sure. In my worldly travels, I was warned.
Oh, tell us.
In some countries, you do not tip.
Okay.
It is an insult.
Really?
Yeah. So I was told that in some Asian cultures like Japan or China or South Korea, tipping is an insult.
Really?
It's how you insult them by saying, clearly, you can't afford to pay your staff. Oh. Your service is poor and your business is bad, so you need this more than I do. They don't. They think if I give you a number. Now, in recent times, I've been told that they realized the stupidity of the pride. Just take the money.
Yeah.
But it's a funny point. If somebody walked up to me and said, "I realized that you're not completely white, so I want to give you $10," my response would be, "Thanks, bro." Just take the $10.
Yeah.
Sure.
$10, man.
So if you want to,
but that attitude it's not solving anything. It's not. It's.
I know.
You're
I know,
not
it's
going.
stupid.
You know what? I hate white people less now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. No, that's not working like that. That's not doing anything.
Yeah.
It's not solving any systemic issues that they're marching for.
There was an article that was going around from like critical race theory people, the woke left,
Okay.
specifically saying that they need to start eavesdropping on conversations from mixed race people.
Okay.
You know why?
No, tell me.
Now, they're not going to tell you this.
But
I'm just going to make the assumption.
Okay, you're making an assumption.
Oh, because when you go to a white person whose only experience is their white family, you can easily convince them that they can't understand your plight. You don't understand what we've been through.
Oh, okay.
Then you go to a minority family and say, you don't understand the privilege they have. And so there was this viral thread from a woman claiming that she was going to buy a house, and she was told by the loan officer, it's common for people to get gifts of $50,000 to $100,000.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
And she's like, this is what white privilege is. The problem with mixed race families is that they have white family members, presumably mixed race meaning white, to be honest.
I see. Okay.
Which is often what they mean. So for me growing up, having a dad who's white, I'm like, why are you ragging on my dad? Like that offends me. Oh, but I'm also, technically a minority, right? The smallest minority in the country. So all of a sudden, what I was saying to them, it got really bad when they would say things about white people and be like, what about my family? That my family was negatively impacted by the policies you enacted, even though we were like the most marginalized community in the country, just because of the race of my father.
But this is so stupid because white people are poor too.
Right.
There's more poor white
more
people.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like you think all white people can just afford to give $100,000 to the
Apparently.
first time house owner?
They
like,
do
no,
think that.
That's not the case. It's ridiculous.
But listen, they think that.
Yeah, and I know that's the problem.
But that's why I was saying that like the idea of a
they
white
keep
mixed
putting-
family breaks that apart.
Yeah, exactly. They keep pushing this racist narrative that's like trying to divide us, and it's like it's ridiculous. I can't stand it.
They, in my opinion, a lot of this comes from revolutionary lunatics who need a catalyst for the destruction of the country.
Yeah.
I've talked to them. It's not a grand conspiracy. These are fringe weirdos who work in these activist groups that do these kind of weird things. And they straight up said, from the ashes of the old, we will build the new. Mm-hmm. So they're like, let it all burn. Let it fall apart. And I kid you not, I know some of these people who voted for Trump because they were thinking like, wow, Trump will really destroy everything. Then you had like 3 years of prosperity and like the expansion of like
shoot.
American nationalism and stuff.
Yeah.
Now they're maybe going like, oops.
I just watched V for Vendetta, and right now what's happening? It feels like that scene where the High Chancellor is getting all pissed off, and he's like,
Yeah.
man, we need to start reminding the citizens of why they need us. Like,
Yeah.
and then it's just like the news is just constant, like, oh man,
Terror,
hurricanes,
terror.
terrorist attacks, COVID-19, racial issues, and it's like, this is the Democrats. The Democrats were the original, like, racists in this country. They nothing's changed. It's interesting because you see many black people out there going, what is going on? Like, I love Trump. We've had the lowest unemployment rate
Right.
Forever. This is like all of us have jobs now. What
Yeah.
are you talking about? We're making moves. This is what we wanted.
I can say one thing. Who was that guy who said at least Trump hasn't started any new wars?
Oh, Mills.
Is that who it was?
I think that's who it was.
That was Mills who said that?
Gates. Sorry.
Gates.
Yeah, Gates.
He said at least Trump hasn't started any new
I was like,
wars.
at least? Seriously? That's like the greatest thing he could do.
Well, I mean, regardless of what he meant by it, I'm like, that's actually a good point.
Yeah.
Like, what? It was funny. Somebody posted on Facebook and they were like, I really miss Obama or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is my time to shine. Let me.
Oh, you love it when
Stretching
people
his
say that, don't you?
Typing fingers.
And I'm like, you appeared on my timeline.
Honestly, I didn't
Stranger.
know half of the stuff about Obama that
I should write a song.
you told me about, and I'm just like, is that real?
Yeah.
You know
Really?
the
Yeah,
Animaniacs
wow.
song where he sings all the countries?
Yes.
No.
You haven't seen that one? Do you know Count Dankula did one too where he names all the countries and it's like
I haven't seen that one, actually.
So it would be funny to write a song of all the horrible things Obama did.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, extrajudicial assassinations, the indefinite detention provision in the NDAA,
Way
the
too many
expansion of the
syllables.
authorization for use of military force in the Middle East, the expansion of our troops in Afghanistan, the use of the Espionage Act against more whistleblowers than any other president in history combined. They called him the deporter in chief. Black Lives Matter started under Barack Obama. Under Barack Obama, the perception of race relations
Worse.
decreased.
Yeah.
Come
Yep.
on, man. The dude was responsible for the expansion of the drone strike program.
Yep.
Which like literally blew up children and civilians. And you know what he did when they would kill civilians? They decided one day to just be like, well, how old were the civilians?
Wow.
Well, they were between the ages of 18 and 30.
Fighting
Military
age.
Yeah,
That's
fighting
right.
age.
Yeah.
Fighting age. We'll
Yeah.
just call them fighting age.
Slap that
Wow.
label on.
Yeah. So that's how they tried to get around killing civilians.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
Fast and
Incredible.
Furious, Benghazi.
My favorite story. Yeah, Benghazi. Man, I mean, come on.
Yeah, right.
Fast and Furious. You know what that
Yes,
was?
dude.
When they were giving guns to cartels.
Yeah.
Man, you want to talk about Obama? Nah, I'm sorry. So Trump's got all his problems, man, but not starting a new war, that's actually kind of a big deal.
That's a huge deal.
So you know what, man? I say fool me once, shame on you. That's why I voted for Obama the first time. I
Yep.
was like, yeah, it's something
Same.
different. You know, everybody told me all this good stuff about it. I remember being in Chicago and people cheering, and I'm like, wow.
That's pretty
He's like an
cool.
outsider. He wasn't even in politics. He was like a local community dude.
Yeah.
And then he gets in, and it's like the One Ring. As
Yep.
soon as he got it, it was like, cast it into the fire. And Obama was like, no. Yeah.
Just like that.
I kind of wanted a little bit more, but that was pretty good.
No. Nope. He walked out of it and he put it
Oh,
on.
man.
And that
Yeah.
was it, man. So, you know, it really is a tough period in terms of the upcoming election. It's crazy. It feels like there's a constant attack on my brain. I read news all day, every day, and I don't just read one source. I read forums from the left, forums from the right. I read mainstream corporate Democrat articles. I read hardcore Trump conspiracy sites. I read everything. I want to know what people are thinking and why they're thinking it. And I really cannot reconcile everything I'm seeing on the streets with burning buildings, with the data proving riots make Republicans win,
Yeah.
with them coming out with data claiming Biden is going to win.
Yeah,
With the
that's
betting odds.
That's ridiculous.
Maybe
I don't see it.
if they cheat, you know. Look, man.
Well, if he's got the betting odds, like I'll
Biden
bet, I'll
does.
bet against him, make more money that way.
Think
Oh,
so?
yes, dude, I know people who made a lot of money in 2016.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because it was like 10 to 1.
Oh man.
Wow.
Some people were like, I figured it was $10. I won $100. I was like, wow, I didn't care about the $10.
Yeah.
Right.
But the bookies were convinced like you're going to lose your money.
Yeah.
And they ended up having to pay out for it. I know some people who made a couple grand.
Wow.
Because I know some people who were legit convinced. They're like, I know he's going to win. You're wrong. He's going to win. He's going to win.
I
Yeah.
knew. Yeah.
So maybe that's it. Maybe go put your predicted bets on Trump to win. But I'll tell you what, man. If you think if the Trump supporters, you think you got this one in the bag, nah, I don't buy it.
Nah.
In Paterson, New Jersey, right now, there's a huge controversy because 20% of the mail-in vote was disqualified.
Oh yeah.
And now a leader of the NAACP is calling for the election to be completely nullified.
Wow.
And there are people complaining, why was my vote disqualified? They said that around 3,000 or so votes, this is a local election, the signatures on them did not match previous signatures.
Yeah, but the Democrats don't want that to happen. They're like, we've worked so long and hard to set this up. The election must go on.
No, I think they do. I mean, so look at what happened with 2016.
Do you think they do what?
They
Want the election canceled?
They want mail-in voting.
No. I'm saying they don't want the election canceled.
Oh, I think they want everything they can get.
Well, if the election is canceled,
They'll
then
blame
they
Trump and
lose their
say he's a
chance.
dictator, and they're going to remove him via the military
Well, if the election's canceled, that's
gonna
how is that?
contest
How's
it.
that on him though?
because Trump has to be reelected. And so they'll argue there must be an election, and that from this point on, Trump must step down or some other ridiculous nonsense.
Ah, that was
Look,
my
man,
whole point. Yeah.
in 2016, they pulled a crafty move. After they lost, they claimed Trump cheated and that, he's illegitimate. And
Yeah.
then we went through, 2.5, 3
They
years.
still believe that. They're still saying that.
They know
Never
it's
let
not
that
true.
go. Yeah.
They know for a fact it's not true. The transcripts have been released. We've seen the witness statements where they said there's no evidence.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah.
Then they would go on TV and lie.
They don't believe it though.
Well, it's not they don't believe it. It's that they know it's not true. It's not a question of belief. It's knowledge. They know there is no evidence. They were straight up asked under oath in closed door proceedings, do you have evidence? No. Then why did you say you did? I saw it on TV. They would go
Literally,
on
yeah.
TV and claim it was true, and then when they got questioned,
I'm not talking about the Democrats in like politics. I'm talking about the people, Democrats that are seeing
voters.
this stuff. Yes, the voters.
Yeah.
yeah,
They hate Trump because they believe in their core that he was colluding with Russia
Nah,
and
dude.
all this stuff.
They hate
what
him
they've been
because
told for so long.
they hate him because, and this is partly Trump's fault.
They were told to hate him.
Sort of, but Trump plays into it too hard, and the people in media love that Trump plays the game. So I've talked to a lot of my friends, and I always, whenever we get into this political stuff, I'm like, Trump never called Nazis very fine people, right? And they go, that's not true. I saw it. And I said, did you? Pull up the article. And they're like, oh, wait, what?
Right.
So you actually pull up the transcript. You can see him say, I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis. They should be condemned totally.
Yeah.
And then they're like, but what was he saying then? I'm like, did you ever actually read the story and see what was going on?
Yeah.
And what Trump was trying to say and who he condemned? Like, no, I didn't. Right. And it took me actually telling you to go look for it.
Yeah.
Because they're not looking for it.
Well, now, see, I actually watch his speeches and listen to him speak. And then I'm like, oh, okay. I get what you're saying. And then I read the news.
Like something totally different.
Like clockwork.
Right.
Clockwork. Spinning it in a way that is not what he
Oh,
said.
dude.
Yeah.
Take a look at
Snoping it.
Yeah.
What was the recent, this is hilarious, the recent rule change.
Oh, right.
NPR publishes Trump administration finalizes rule stripping LGBTQ rights in healthcare.
Yep.
And it's like, is that what happened?
I was like, that's always interesting to find
What
out
really-
what actually happened.
You know what really happened?
Do enlighten us.
He defined the term sex not to include gender identity. Obama changed it, I think it was 2016,
Okay.
Yep.
that in healthcare, sex discrimination included identity. And Trump set a rule saying, no, it means biological sex.
Okay.
I'm not saying you have to like it or agree with it or hate it, whatever. That's not the point. The point is, it is a far cry from saying that he's stripping rights from the LGBTQ community
Yeah, it's a huge difference.
when he's literally just changing a rule back from a couple of years ago that Obama changed in the first place.
Right.
Now, it's a semantic argument. It's like arguing. It's literally what I talk about when I say hydroxylic acid. It's like, it's true.
But it's also water.
Right. So, like, for those that aren't familiar with it's called the dihydrogen monoxide hoax. You could say something like hydroxylic acid can eat through metal and I'm going to splash it in your face. And then you get scared and it's like, it's water, dude. So, yes, the rule change may impact the rights of transgender people. That's serious. But you have to explain to people what's really going on with the rule change. Instead, they go for the most hyperbolic and exaggerated take to make it seem like, Trump is going crazy. And then there's like, there's some viral tweets. There was one from, you might know Shoe on Head. She's a big YouTuber. She tweeted in 2016, calm down. I don't think like Trump is literally going to start taking away gay rights or anything.
Right.
And then after this rule change, she posted a tweet where it was like, oops. And everyone was like, man, that aged like milk. And it's like, that's technically, man, it's to actually get people to understand why the rule was changed in the first place and why was it changed back. You have to have an intelligent conversation they don't want to have. And the reality is,
Bring back intelligent conversations, please.
Seriously.
if you have
Please.
in medical practice someone asserting that they are a different biological sex, that can affect how medical treatment is performed on them.
That's true.
So the argument is not, in some instances, about transgender rights
Right.
as much as it is about proper medical treatment and liability issues. So if you saw somebody who had their ID, like someone's passing on the ground and it looks, the individual is female, and you look at the ID, female, and so you say, okay, it's a female, I have to apply certain medical treatment in a certain capacity. Then it turns out they're biologically male. That means there are different medical procedures. There's different
doses.
Right, different doses.
Yeah, everything's different. You gotta be careful. Yeah.
So they passed a law, I think it was in 1991, for the first time. 91. I think it was 91. I did a whole thing about it. We did this whole story for Subverse, now it's called Scanner, where when they would do clinical trials for medication, they wouldn't do it on women.
Really?
And then they were shocked to find, for
It didn't
some
work on
reason,
women.
painkillers didn't work on
Weird.
women. Yep. So they passed this law saying, okay, from now on, medicines have to be trialed on men and women separately.
That makes sense.
Right.
That recently, huh?
That recently.
That's
It's like
crazy.
in the past, not even 30 years, we didn't realize that maybe men and women have biological differences that have different, medicine will have different effects.
Right.
So, but you also have, blood-brain barrier stuff, brain capacity, the nether regions for obvious reasons will be affected differently.
Yeah.
Like Viagra, for instance. So now when you have this rule change saying, like changing the definition of sex to include identity, it could actually impact proper medical procedure. Ultimately, I think, what we saw today with the Supreme Court was their ruling that if you are to discriminate on the basis of identity or sexuality, you inherently discriminate on the basis of sex. And this caused a huge uproar, not because I'm not seeing the high profile conservatives that are complaining about this
Okay.
are not saying we shouldn't give rights to these people. No, they're saying don't legislate from the bench.
Right.
Now, maybe they're being hypocrites. I don't know. I don't follow all of their complaints.
Yeah, I don't
but the
know
complaint for the most part is the Democrats have been trying to pass this legislation for a long, long time and have never gotten it through for the Supreme Court to just come out now and say, nope, it's true, you're done, case closed, is subverting an entire branch of government.
Yeah, that's not cool.
Well, look, man, I think people shouldn't discriminate for a lot of reasons in employment, but maybe there is a consideration that legislation should be handled by the legislative branch. I guess the concern is they weren't getting the job done, but that's not the job of the Supreme Court. So
Yeah, agreed.
But anyway,
Anywho,
we've got the Chaz, we've got gun battles in
we got
France.
the Chaz. It sounds like
Chaz.
a good
Look,
Yeah.
good
Tribe-
time.
tribe
Yeah,
song.
right?
But now we must do something else.
Yes.
Super chats.
Yes.
no,
Super
no.
chat
Before
time.
we get into super
Oh,
chats,
wait, yeah.
look what I found. This
What is this?
it's a freaking soy board.
That is amazing.
It's a skateboard, a soy
I
sauce board, a soy board.
I've had this for a very long time.
I freaked out. I was like, Tim,
amazing.
Tim, what is this? What is this thing I
I
found?
was like, oh
And
yeah,
I
I had
said,
that for a really long time.
It's my oversized novelty soy sauce.
Yeah, what does it look like?
Kikkoman.
well, I'm in love.
Soy.
It's a soy board. Come on,
love
right?
it.
I know.
It's
Anyway, I had to show you
awesome.
guys.
okay. It is a full-size skateboard in the shape of a bottle of soy sauce.
right. Come on.
That's so cool.
Now, even better.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Can you guys see
We
that?
got some Harumph
Can you get
skateboards.
Yeah, there we go. Look at that.
Now
Yeah.
here's what I think we're gonna do. Here's what I think we're gonna give these away.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have a little like a contest of some sort.
Right.
Who wants
So
who wants a Harumph board? I know
don't-
you guys are freaking
I don't know
out.
how we can do it,
This thing is sweet.
but maybe if people send us something in the PO box, we can then grab a random letter and then send a board back.
Oh yeah, like a drawing. Or
We have
something.
10 boards.
Oh yeah.
They
You know
are.
what? I'll think of a few ways. I think
You don't
we
want
could,
you don't want to do the letter thing?
Well, what do you mean like a
Yeah. If somebody send us something to the PO box,
Uh-huh.
then we'll have an address and we'll send it back.
like a return, send us a return thing?
No. Just so we have your address.
Oh, okay.
And then we'll randomly pick.
Yeah, that'd be
How
fun.
about that?
I don't know. Not maybe we'll pick one that way, but I think we should have some different contests.
All right.
to think
A couple.
about
You
it.
got
Well, then
10,
I'll say
we got
this right
10
now.
We got 10 boards, so
If you go to
Let's do it.
timcast.com/donate, there is a PO box.
Mm-hmm.
We will give away one of the boards.
Yep.
In response, because we get stuff all the time from
Such
people,
cool, fun stuff.
and so this is just the Harumph I
But
say
you
graphic.
got to include I want the board.
Yes.
Yeah, we do need to
And
know.
you have to smash the like button.
Yep. Sure enough.
Or no
Yes,
deal.
sure.
Or we're not
Hit the
sending
like-
it.
Hit the like button. But we do have 10, so I guess we'll figure out different ways to give them out.
Oh,
Yeah.
I assume most people won't actually skate them because it's just the Harumph I say on a board.
Yeah, they're
Oh,
so
you can't
cool.
skate it.
No, no.
I
mean,
Put it
you
on the
can.
wall.
You can do whatever you
skate
want.
it.
It's your
You can
property
skate
once
it.
you get it
Yeah,
in the mail.
whatever.
Turn
It's,
into a
it's a
table.
great prize,
But,
though.
we'll
I
send
love
it out
it.
to people. But yes, absolutely. If you haven't already smashed the like button,
Yes.
Smash
make
it.
sure
Smash
follow
it.
me on Twitter and Instagram at TimCast
I'll
if
wait.
you would like to see silly shenanigans. You can follow
Smash it.
at Adam Krigler. Wait,
Wait.
it's over there. There
Oh,
you go.
yeah. It's this.
He's very excited.
There we go.
Send him your story ideas.
Yes, every Monday I do a new tweet. I pin it at the top of my page, and you can. It's great. It's already over 200 comments right now. It really helps if you actually kind of breeze through it a little bit. A lot of times people are posting stuff that's already there.
Overlapping.
So just like the ones that you want us to talk about. So a lot of people, the more likes, the more it'll stand out and be like, oh, a lot of people are interested in this. And even better, comment on it. Talk about what it is, because your insight is really great. I read through this stuff and I basically get your opinions and I talk about it.
Yeah, definitely.
What you guys are feeling about certain subjects. So
Yeah, man.
the more you interact, the better. So really appreciate you guys.
And you can also follow at Sour Patch Lids.
Oh yeah.
LYDS.
There you go. I think I'm gonna start pinning something too, and we can all chat.
On Twitter.
yes,
Twitter.
that's Twitter.
Yeah.
So we got some super chats.
Let's do it.
The first super chat of the day
Yay.
from Mean Steve says Clay Travis is to Woke Center as Tim Pool is to CNN. Love his take on the LeBron NBA China hypocrisy. Check out the interview that got him banned from CNN years ago. First Amendment and boobs. For those that aren't familiar, Clay Travis wrote about ESPN's ratings being the worst in their entire history. You know
Was
why?
it true?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Because they got woke. Because, dude, here's the way I explained it in a video
Yep.
earlier. Could you imagine loading up a skate video where you're like, I'm going to watch some skateboarding, and instead they're talking about politics and social justice?
That would be
That's
horrible.
Same thing with the games going on nowadays.
Right.
It's just like
Well, but I mean,
Nonstop.
it's actually a little different, right? When it comes to the gaming stuff, if I see they've injected social justice, if it's done right or tastefully, I really don't care. But if I literally want to watch a guy
No,
do
gaming is to escape reality into a game world.
right, what I'm saying is
No, it's even worse, I think.
I disagree. You can have storylines.
Yeah, of course you do.
You can have storylines in movies and games that are woke, but you're still watching a movie or playing a game.
Sure.
If I open a video to watch a guy do a tray flip and instead it's a guy sitting at a desk lecturing me,
Mm-hmm.
it's not about whether I like the politics or not. It's about me saying, I want to watch a tray flip and clicking the tray flip video and leaving.
Yeah.
You get it?
Yep.
So with ESPN, there's probably some people who wouldn't mind if there was some political talk while they watched a game. But if you're not watching the game and you literally went to the channel to watch the game, you aren't even thinking about politics. You're not going, oh, politics are harumph.
Yeah.
You're going, oh, no football's on. Next. Oh, no football's on. Next. Oh, there's the football.
Yep.
That's simple. That's why their ratings are trash. King Canuck says, sending this out before a bike ride. Might not catch the first hour or so of this depending. Hope it's not a real cell attack. Things are getting nasty out there. Also, Tim, you just lost the game. That's true, I did.
Dang it.
Jacob Scott
It was
says,
the beard. The beard was the game.
beard's gone.
Oh, yeah.
It's funny because people don't realize I shave like once a month. I really
This
really
is
do.
normal.
It's like a totally normal thing.
It's a little shorter than
I wonder if it's just because we've had a big influx of viewers.
I don't
that
know.
Haven't seen
We've
you
got a
out
lot
here.
of core viewers. I don't know if
Yeah.
I think they would agree with me that this is the first time you've shaved on the show.
I never do a clean shave. I just have a buzzer and go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe it was because of the lockdown. Maybe people aren't used to it.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob Scott says, hey, love you guys. Getting off work to listen to you and play WoW keeps me sane. Guys, you have a big role to play as journalist and voice of influence in the coming turmoil. Stay tuned and honest. And Liberty, P.S. Lydia, marry me.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Ah.
whoa, whoa. He's the journalist.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
We're the voices of reason.
Not me.
But this is not even a journalism show. I mean,
That's true. Yeah.
we still do have fact-checking standards, for sure.
Oh, for
we want to
sure.
make
Yeah.
sure that the things we're talking about are still legit. But,
For the record, that Sprite in a bag thing.
right,
That was actually from Halloween.
Halloween, yeah.
Like a year or two ago.
right. So
Still
It's
a
not
good
actually
idea.
from Chaz.
We'll give him
so
credit.
sorry about that. We found out about that later in the day.
Big Mac Attack says, good evening, Baron Von Beanie, Sorbarian Jesus, and Lydia of Whiterun.
Hello.
Hey, Tim, I watched your Saturday segment about private security, and I was wondering, do you think Seattle might pull a RoboCop where the super wealthy can hire private military? Yes, I do. They're probably already doing it
They
now, man.
are already doing
Already
it.
You want to
on
know?
it.
They
You want
are.
to
Totally.
You want to know who just climbed on top of their desk and started doing the Lindy Hop? The executives of Securitas.
Yep.
They're going, they're dancing around, they're do-si-doing.
Yeah.
They're making it rain. They're like, yes. As these departments get defunded,
And guess
The
who
rich
they're
people-
hiring?
who are
The
the
cops.
cops, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the cops.
yeah, dude.
Oh, man.
That's crazy, man. Across the country, we're seeing cops resign. That's freaky stuff.
Yeah, it is.
Jeremy Griffin says Nintendo released a game on Switch called Tonight We Riot, starring and created by Antifa. Is that real? Consider me
Really?
disappointed.
No
Give it a
way.
look. Apparently, commies want $15 for it.
What is it, Rockstar?
Nintendo.
I don't know. Is it
Oh,
Ninten-
Nintendo.
Switch?
Okay.
I had an idea for a game.
Tonight we riot. I gotta see if that's true.
Here's my idea for a game. I want to tell you my idea for a game. It's a 2D side scroller, point and click adventure kind of thing,
Okay.
where you play as a dude who's out of work, and so you try to find money. You can walk into a place and like ask for a job, and the guy in the company says, "Sorry, we're not hiring." Then you can like steal from the tip jar and get like $1. You can go in the trash. You can scrounge around the streets.
Okay.
You can go to a gas station and like mug somebody, go to an alley. And the goal of the game is you have a college student loan debt counter on the top of the screen.
Okay.
And so you're trying to pay off your debt. So you can collect money, then go to the ATM and put it in to pay off your debt. But no matter what you do, your student loan debt always ticks faster than no matter how good you are at the game. You'll never make enough money.
Sounds about right.
Great.
But here's the best part. The only way the game ends is when finally you click concede, and the ending cinematic is when you give up. He goes to the voting booth, and then he presses the Bernie Sanders button, and there's a picture on the screen of Bernie Sanders smiling, and then after you press the button, the background turns red, and his brow goes down, and he looks angry, and then he raises a fist, and then it plays the Soviet national anthem.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was my idea for a game. I thought it would be hilarious as a
I
little
like
mini
that.
game.
I love
Yeah.
it.
Hold on, I have to read this. So I looked it up. Tonight we riot.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Are you
looked up
looking
too.
at this?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's for real.
Wow.
What is happening there?
I'm just going to read. A revolutionary crowd-based retro brawler in a dystopia where wealthy capitalists control elections, media, and the lives of working people. We're faced with two choices: accept it or fight for
Oof.
something better. And it's you basically riot and take everything down. Yeah, here we go. You just pulled it
Oh,
up.
sorry, I didn't realize it was on the screen. My bad.
$15.
Yeah, that is very
Talk about
capitalistic.
a hot profit for the designers of this
Seriously,
anti-capitalist
this
game.
socialist game.
It's so like bad. Look at the graphics.
It's making me angry.
Oh, it
For
looks
all
like
those folks
know.
who need to get out their political anger.
Is that what it says?
Yeah, it's what it
Maybe
says.
it's a good thing.
Maybe.
You know what we need to
A
do?
wood chipper.
We need to take all these Antifa people and just give them like legit VR.
They'd love that.
Just
Yeah,
put them in the
but-
Matrix, you know?
yeah, but you don't feel the destruction of a brick going through an actual window, Tim.
No, I'm
my
saying
God.
we need to give them legit neural link VR,
Oh, okay.
where it's like as soon as they show up to the protest, it's like, here's my plan. Here's what we're gonna do. All right, hear me out.
Okay,
Hear me
all
out.
right, okay.
All right. You tell all the Antifa people tonight's the night. This is the night we revolt.
Tonight we write.
Now, when they show up, they go into a security room where you're like, we got to make sure you're legit. And then what actually happens is they get put into the Neuralink. They don't realize it, and then they get to live out the fantasy of staging a revolution.
So like Ender's Game.
Is that what? Yeah.
Yeah, that's where they're
There
really
you go.
fighting aliens, but they don't know. They think
Right.
they're fighting.
So these
game.
people are all like, we did it, yay, and they're dancing up and down. And then once they get it all out of their system, they wake up in a chair, and it's like, you did it.
I'm
Yay.
Go home.
thinking more like Minority Report, where they put all the people, they link
'em on ice.
They link them up. Well, they're not on ice. Their brains are fully alive. They're in. He said they're basically just living like a computer generated something. You know,
I mean, how many people would willfully choose to go into that anyway?
probably a lot.
It's like, I would like to
Yeah.
be
Scarily so.
like
a
to be
dragon
not me.
warrior.
And we need to
The Dragonborn.
let that go. It's funny. It's funny because I'm such a gamer, but also I want to fight for life. You know.
Right, for sure.
Maybe the solution is give people a way to have purpose. You know, give them a real experience.
Yeah.
I guess maybe.
Yep.
Hmm.
Here we go.
Interesting game.
Jen McMahon says significantly significant, significantly significant over and over and over again. Thank you.
Nice.
And then some other word. Our Cat's Gay asks, I can't talk to any of my friends in PA right now without using Wi-Fi on their end. Oh, because of the phone outage stuff.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Interesting. Still. Huh.
Warren Traveler says, howdy, Pim Tool, Soy Boy, Jesus, and my fave Sour Patch Lids. Love y'all. Can you do me a favor and spin that UFO?
It's Soy Man. Jesus.
Soy
Soy
Man.
man to you.
but I will spin it for you.
That's very nice of you.
Georgiev says, hello, Tim. I am a longtime fan from East Europe, Bulgaria.
Ooh.
Most of us support Trump. East EU is really conservative. The things we see in U.S. makes us remember the 50-year horror after 1945. Yeah, you know,
Yep.
sounds about right. And was it Poland where they had the God Emperor Trump gigantic thing?
I think so.
Yeah.
They had a
Do you know what
parade.
I'm talking about?
Yeah.
No.
Let me see if I can pull
They
this
had a
up.
float.
Oh, man.
God Emperor Trump.
They had a big old float. It was amazing. I remember laughing at that.
I'm sure I can just, yep, there it is.
There it is. Okay, here. Oh, snap. It's so big.
Look at his claw hand.
Wow.
Man.
Tweets and
That's pretty epic.
Dude, yeah, wow. Look
There
at
are
this, dude.
tweets on his right hand. That
Dude,
is the best thing I think I've ever
Trump
seen.
truly has made it in life, hasn't he?
So, I would say so.
I just need you to think about this picture and what people in the future are going to think looking back at our historical
man.
records.
Thank you for this.
They're going to be
I've never seen that. It's
I
amazing.
love
It's
the tweets.
amazing.
The tweets.
God Emperor
I
Trump.
can't
All right,
handle
let's
it.
keep it moving though. Come on.
Look at this.
No,
Just look
it's
at this.
look, it's amazing. Oh my
Amazing.
gosh. All right.
All right. Let's get back to these super chats. Let's see. Duraphity says Washington has universal background checks. Raz loaning that kid a gun without a background check isn't at an FFL is illegal.
Yep.
Downskated says my local gun range used to hold NFL viewing parties for the members of in the club space. Then they started kneeling for the flag, and that stopped. There were discussions about resuming, but those ended. Michael King says, one of three. IR DDoS. When you disconnect from one service, your phone tries to connect to another one. When all the phones connect to the same tower, that creates another DDoS. Wow, interesting.
Ah, yeah.
Matt Hatter says, Crowder inspired me to get my first firearm. You all inspired me to get my first guitar. I hope I'm good enough to jam if / when you all ever have a community meetup.
Nice. Awesome.
SC Nietzsche says, cybersecurity expert here. Definite DDoS attack. Unknown attacker, unknown botnet at this time.
Wow.
So I've heard that from other people. I'm just like, until I can get hard confirmation, but you heard it from SC Nietzsche, so perhaps it's it. Ethan Barron says, a DDoS on AWS and or Azure would make sense if it's affecting that many services. Is that, AWS, is that the Amazon service, or what is that?
AWS. Sure.
Doug I, thanks for becoming a member. Michael King then says, This becomes what can be called a rolling DDoS and can be achieved by overloading just a couple towers in a busy area. Repeat this for 3 major areas, you seriously impact the country. Ryan E. says, can confirm this was a deliberate cyber attack. It's starting to look like it.
Yep.
Michael then goes on to say, don't be surprised if China is either testing their abilities to shut us down or if they are trying to shut this down for financial reasons.
So I was saying.
How much wire fraud can you get away with if bankers can't call clients? Definitely.
Good point.
Maximum Casey says, hello to the awesome trio. I have a funny story for you. Do you remember a man in the UK by the name of Dan Holmes back in 2002 married his PS2 and had his name legally changed to PlayStation 2? I did not know
Wow.
Actually, that does sound familiar. Wow, yeah, I do remember that.
that. What a strange world we live in.
Now I want to look into it a little more and just to
2002,
see
huh? I
because
looked
it
it up.
legally happened.
Fascinating.
Georgie.
Hey, good for him.
Yeah. You know, whatever makes me
happy.
happy, man.
If the slot fits.
That's Gosh. Okay. Next question.
Georgie Georgiev says East EU would rather die than return to USSR and CCP. We lived that nightmare for years. My parents and grandparents told me enough. I also saw enough. I believe it. Thrawn Fett says China is unable to ever militarily attack the U.S. with anything except possibly nukes, an exchange that they still lose. There isn't enough transport capacity in the world to make it through the U.S. And there is a gun behind every blade of grass.
That's right. That's why they're
Especially now.
Especially
Oh,
now.
After
yeah.
all the riots.
Yeah. True.
Simius the First says in Australia, we are very close to becoming a satellite state of China. Our Labour Party views them as natural ideological allies and would much prefer to have them as allies/masters than the U.S., who they see as too conservative. Lamer says declassified KGB documents from USSR collapse show McCarthy was right. That plus the Frankfurt School that promoted communist thought came to New York after they were kicked out of the Third Reich. CCP barely needed to do anything.
Yeah, they went
Or is
to
it Reich?
colleges.
Henrik says, I was just about to ask you if you have seen the Yuri Bezmenov videos, and then you started talking about him. Keep up the good work. Greetings from Bergen, Norway. I've been to Bergen.
Word, me too.
Bergen's great.
Cool. Beautiful.
Yeah, awesome.
I had fish and chips on the street. You know how much it cost?
$1 million.
US?
A lot.
50
40
bucks.
Yeah. 40,
50 bucks for a styrofoam plate
Yep.
with some
Wow.
fried fish and
Yep.
French fries.
Same
That's
in
amazing.
Iceland, but it's so good.
It was good. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Smash that like button.
That's right.
Smash it.
Sorry, I get a little
He's
outburst
so
sometimes. It happens.
John Delaire.
It's all this Orange Man bad soda that I've been drinking.
I wonder
It
if
doesn't seem to be working though.
have you actually tried it yet?
No.
Why don't you pop it open and give
Should
it a
I?
try? Do you have a bottle
Sure.
opener?
It's twist
You
off.
don't need
Ooh,
to. Yeah.
look at
Oh,
that
snap.
smoky.
Oh, he's going to transform before our
He's
very
gonna
eyes.
pass out.
There we go.
Is it good?
No, he's still good.
It's
Still
good.
good?
Red pill still worked.
Okay, good.
But how would you rate the soda?
It's starting to. It's trying to. Orange Man bad. No, it's
blue
actually
pill.
it's pretty good. It's not as sweet as I thought it was going to be. 43 grams of
yeah,
sugar
it's a
That's soda.
per
Yeah,
serving,
That is a soda.
which is one bottle. And I had one sip, and it's already
done?
enough sweet for me.
A tremendous orange
Great.
soda.
It is tremendous.
But do they?
Orange Man bad soda. Don't drink this.
Can you get that in stores somewhere?
Probably not.
Probably
No.
not, no.
That'd be great.
OrangeManBadSoda.com.
Oh,
Hey, there you go. Check it out. Thanks
Cool.
for the
This
soda.
is not
Yeah.
an endorsement,
No,
by
it's
the way.
not, but we are
someone,
enjoying it.
someone actually sent this to us.
Yeah.
So keep in mind, just so you know, if you randomly send us,
Oh, it's bad.
Oh, no.
really?
Try it.
No, I don't want to try
It's too
it.
sweet.
I don't have cooties.
No, I'm just saying. You really think it's bad?
No, it's actually it's sweet.
Adam doesn't
Yeah,
like
I don't
sweet.
do
Yeah.
sweet
I'm like,
stuff.
if it's really bad, make sure you got to be careful because look, somebody sent us some Orange Man bad soda. You know,
I mean,
What do they
yeah.
think?
your endorsement is serious. If you say it's bad, you know.
Yeah, this is bad.
Don't drink the Orange Man bad soda.
No, this is not good.
Tremendous.
Don't get this to drink.
Give it to me.
Yeah, here you go.
Okay.
You can have it.
You try it.
Yeah, you
Let's
try
get a
it.
second opinion.
I'll be the judge of that.
I bet she's gonna love it.
I probably will.
Maybe it's meant to not be good because it's Orange Man bad.
I'll be the judge. I'll let you know.
No, it's just sweet. I don't like sweet drinks.
Drink
40
it.
grams of sugar later.
Yeah.
Try it.
It tastes like orange soda.
Yeah.
It's
So-
okay. I think it's good. It is not maybe tremendous, but it's quite good. Yeah, I don't mind.
Oh man.
Okay. John Delaire says Coachella Valley, California cell phone service is down. I'm on T-Mobile and it has been working all day. I can only FaceTime and use internet.
Oh man.
I heard Verizon and AT&T are working. Maybe LOL.
Wow.
So I think what the other people were explaining is that the reason Verizon, AT&T, and others went down is because T-Mobile all dropped and then hit. They all jumped to the next tower,
Yeah.
That
knocking
makes
out
sense.
everybody.
Right.
Jason Solo says nuclear powers have been retrofitting their nukes into less radioactive, smaller precision strike nukes. They don't have prolonged radioactivity in the strike zone. Soon, mutually assured destruction won't be a thing anymore. I could be wrong about this, but my understanding was that the radioactivity was a choice. Yeah.
That's messed up.
I did a special for Discovery where we talked about the power of nukes.
Right.
Crazy stuff, man. But there are some seriously powerful nuclear weapons with no radioactive footprint. So I could be wrong about that, though. So it seems like that may be the case. Let's see. Mike G says, Tim, remember this country's history. From the Red Scare starting in 1919 to McCarthyism to the Cold War with Russia. Lasted until the 80s. We beat it once. We can do it again. Joshua says, past couple of months, Russian craft have increasingly been probing our air and naval presence. China just launched their new fighter jets. Both have the ability to attack us physically and by cyber means.
Interesting.
Ario says, the far left are the Nazi party of the modern age. They are using many of the same points as the Nazis did. Also, China is performing similar expansion tactics as Germany prior to World War II. You know, the issue of, like, what is it, Godwin's Law? Where comparing things to Nazis?
Yeah, Godwin's Law.
Yeah. The thing about it is that you're just describing authoritarianism. And
Right.
because they were the most notorious and, like, egregious authoritarians, people are like, that's what the Nazis did. In reality, you're just saying, like, a well-known authoritarian faction did this thing. Hey, guess what? Communists did it too.
Yeah, they did it worse.
killed a lot more people.
Way worse.
And I also heard from some people in the Air Force that Russia flies by Alaska all the time.
That's my understanding.
That's not like a normal thing.
Yeah.
Or
I
think
that
Alaska's
is a normal thing.
Like 50 miles from Russia.
Yeah.
I
Super
think.
close.
Right. So it's
Yeah.
like they were just
Actually,
flying.
the Aleutians go, like, super close to Japan, I think.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
Whoa.
You know what'd be fun? I always wanted to go to Unalaska.
Unalaska?
Yeah, I think it's where they did that show, the crab show. You know,
Unalaska?
yeah, it's called
yeah.
Unalaska.
It's
The
a place
extreme
called
crabbing?
Unalaska?
Yeah, it's in the Aleutian Islands,
Uh-huh.
that strip, that archipelago or whatever that goes out from Alaska.
Yeah.
And it's where they did that what was that show where they went and they caught crabs?
Yeah, the crab show. I know the
Yeah, I
extreme
don't know.
crabbing.
Oh
I
my
don't know
god.
what it's called.
Extreme
What is the
crabbing.
name of
Extremely
that
crabby.
show? That crab show.
Ice road crabbers.
No. Oh my gosh, it's gonna bug me
Ice
now.
ocean crabbers.
King crab
The ice
collection.
crabbing show.
Ice
Man.
crab
Come on.
boats.
I'm watching
We
you,
need someone
chat.
in
I'm
chat
looking
to
at
tell us
I'm
what
looking
it
at
is.
it. Where's chat?
but
at?
but it's based
Deadliest
there.
catch.
Deadliest
Nailed
catch.
it. Yes, I beat chat.
It would be really cool to go there, man. It looks like
Just
it
then,
would be fun
they
to
all
go
started
check out
rolling
the
in.
Aleutians,
I
man.
figured it out. That'd be super cool. Yeah, Unalaska. I've never heard of that.
Check it out. Nicholas says, the scary thing is only 2% of Germany were members of the Nazi Party during World War II. Hysteria and ignorance did the rest. That's what I'm talking about.
So we can't fall to hysteria,
That's right.
people.
No, listen. When I tell my friends who have these Black Lives Matter profile pictures and everything,
Yeah.
and I'm like, be careful because the organizers of these protests you're going to are overt anti-Semites, they're like, oh, but those are just bad apples. And I'm like,
They're the leaders.
they're
the leaders.
They organized
What the
your
heck?
protest for you.
Right.
So you are providing that image of a public, favorable public opinion.
Right. So that they go, I believe in this. These are all the people that I brought that feel the
Exactly.
same way I do. You're standing out in that crowd. You can have your hands like this. It won't matter.
But I'm careful to say, Dave Chappelle gets it right. Dave Chappelle says, hey, man, these people shouldn't die. You're right. They should not. 100%. I'm with you.
100%.
The problem is the people who are anti-Semites and communists who are trying to hijack actual
Yeah.
public
That
opinion
ain't
for
right.
their benefit.
Yep.
That's not right.
But people are ignoring it. And the crazy, like Chelsea Handler, man, she's posting Farrakhan. What's going on in this country?
Not
Yeah, I don't
cool.
understand that.
Let's see. Perrick says, Churchill was highly racist towards Indians. If he had been reelected, India would not have remained a British colony for longer. I still wouldn't judge the man on 21st century morality. I agree. That's the point. Like Fry says, you all should check out the HBO movie called Second Civil War, a 1997 comedy drama that the media instigated a second civil war. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Spin the UFO and make those black op tech scientists dizzy.
Yes.
I'm going to spin it.
Let's do it.
There's little researchers inside it. That's
There
You
not
know
are.
what? I'm going to spin it the other way now.
I feed them every
Ooh,
day.
Changing it up. Adam's going, getting a little bold
Going
and making
rogue.
it spin the other direction.
I feed them orange soda every day.
Clockwise. Ario says, even though you likely won't read this, I'm happy to help keep you guys around to entertain and inform me. Pool party, grab your dual discs and prepare to defend your honor. Got your back. I'll mention this too. I mean, look, we can't get to every single super chat, but it does support the show because clearly it's money coming to us. So we definitely appreciate it for sure. All right, let's see. Where are we at? Bobcat says, I think it's irresponsible for the warlord of Somalia. Excellent.
I love that name.
To be handing out guns to people without even offering them training. But Mattis has done much the same in his time. Woo, spicy. It's been called Chazmania. Antifa Stan.
Soy mania.
I love Antifa Stan.
Antifa Stan is the best so far.
Soy
I think.
Malia.
I love it.
Antifa Stan.
I take slight offense to Soy Malia. They're
That's
giving
fair.
soy a bad name.
That's
Well,
fair.
I'm here to turn it
They
around.
give everything a bad name.
John C. says they took
smash it.
her gerbs.
What?
They
What's
took
that?
her gerbs.
They took our gerbs.
Anthony Bray says Adam Lincoln didn't free the slaves. He let slaves from the South to come up and join the army to get freedom. The GOP ended slavery with its 13th Amendment in 1875. Oh, so
Okay,
there you go.
good call.
Biker Bob says, "Hey, toke boy of the 5 beaches taken of the 5 beaches taken was taken by the Canadian Army. See Juno Beach. Oh, okay. Of the 5 beaches taken. That okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, there we go.
There
I
it
thought he
is.
was saying I was toke boy of the 5 beaches. I was like, what does
Wait,
that mean?
what? I don't.
Commas. J Rod says, I live in Washington, about 30 miles outside of Seattle. When you read about Sodom and Gomorrah, Capitol Hill is a 21st century version of
Oh
it.
man.
We used to visit Seattle once in a while. Haven't done that in years now. Matthew Stockhausen says, just got a Trump task force card. Only donated to Trump and Tulsi once. It asked for any extra contribution, so I decided to contribute to here instead. Hopefully you find my NH money good. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Donald Trump
Your money is very good here.
Yes.
I think Donald Trump just raised the most ever
he did
again.
on his birthday.
$14 million in
What
a single
nice
day.
gift.
Wow.
It's more, I think, more than any other campaign ever in a single day,
Yeah,
right?
I think
DNC's
so.
got to be
He set
sweating.
a record.
They're sweating, man.
Well,
should
they're
be.
lighting everything up,
They're
going nuts.
They're lighting everything up.
Like, all right, pull out the steps.
Yeah, man. Steve says, media dividing us to defeat ourselves is exactly what adversaries want. People eerily being conditioned to accept major life regime changes. Mass SJ public loyalty oaths scare me. U.S. military superiority is a 15 to 20-year-old idea. Simius I says, Seattle shows us our problems in the West. I went to school with a Russian kid who said if I ever came to conflict with the West, they would win because the Russians or Chinese believe the greatest thing to do in life is to die for your country, and the West does not.
Yep.
No, the West is full of people who think the greatest thing you can do is run and hide and defend yourself. And I got to say, man, there are too many people. We are a generation of even the best of us. Even the best of our generation would much prefer to stock up and go hide instead of going on the front line to defend their ideals.
Yeah.
It's true, man.
Prep.
Yeah.
Very few people would stand up for this. But I'll tell you what, you know who's willing to go out there and fight for their ideas? Antifa.
Yep.
That's a good point.
There was a post by your doctor friend.
Yeah.
What's her name? Carlin
Carlin
Yeah.
Borsenko.
She tweeted that conservatives don't fight.
Yeah, she's right.
It's true.
100%. I've noticed this too.
Until
and I
you
hate
come
it.
on their property.
That's
Well,
true.
that's a
It's
defense.
Like, it's like a personal thing.
There's no offense.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
I
they'll
s-
fight for their property
Right.
I was at Trump Tower.
by defending it.
I was at Trump Tower and there was a leftist protest. And some guy showed up and started talking to me and a few other people, said he was a Trump supporter. And then someone who was there asked him if he would protest. And he goes, no, I would. I'm like, well, there you go. So what do you think? The only thing people see is they don't want to, you guys don't protest, so you must not exist. It's really easy to create the perception that everyone hates Trump
Yeah.
when Trump supporters actually, for the most part, aren't coming out.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of them do,
Okay,
for sure.
to be fair, they also, a lot of them have jobs and they're busy and they're raising their families and everything.
true. It's
So
true.
That's just a
But
point.
when I say
a good
they're
point.
not fighting, I'm not saying it to deride them.
Right.
There's a lot of reasons why they don't
It's just
fight.
true.
And
Yeah.
we also talked about this the other day. Antifa, most of these people are childless, have nothing to lose.
Right.
good
They have,
point.
so they can just throw their bodies in the front line, like whatever. But conservatives, they got kids.
Yeah.
Like I can't leave my kids high and dry, you know.
Yep.
There's the huge challenge. That's a serious disparity, man. Let's see. Tin Man says, it's not that we got rid of dueling, but that we have systematically eradicated the concept of honor from the population. Honor and dedication to something greater than yourself are no longer parts of Western society.
Yep.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, I think it's true.
Way to the heart.
The Waltman says, give Fate O Kings Stay Home, Keep People Safe video a watch. It's the MSM footage shaming the Open the Country protest, but has the Black Lives Matter as the B-roll and more than a feeling playing if you're interested. I think I saw that for sure. All right, let's see. Scott Bloss says, Tim, a ghost gun is a homemade gun made from an 80% finished receiver, blank, that has no serial number, which is legal. Not all home-built guns are ghost guns. Most people buy finished serialized receivers, then build off of that. Thank you for the knowledge.
Nice.
Darren says the woke social media Cheka wasn't satisfied. They hugely empowered BLM movement and have now moved on to the internet Kristallnacht portion of Project Mayhem. Scott Judd says, you all are at 35,000 viewers. For comparison, PewDiePie's last live stream had 49,000 views. Just saying. Timfowars.
Woo.
Wow. I mean, as a lot of people
We're
watching.
just getting started, though.
That's
It's
right.
great, man. Well, look, we do a show and we talk and we complain about things, and apparently everybody likes it.
Well, thank
Yeah.
you thank you very much,
We appreciate
everybody.
all you
It,
guys.
it is
Thank
meant
you.
to be somewhat facetious when I say we complain about things. I think, yeah.
It's true.
All right. Vosh says, clean your room, bucko. And that's why we have a cat named Bucko.
Yes.
He's named for Jordan
He
Peterson.
is not
It's
clean.
Boku.
His proper name. Named for Jordan
It's so
Peterson.
derogative. He's a cool cat. He deserves a cool name.
Jordan Peterson's
He's named
amazing.
for Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
That's why I will.
Then name him
High
Jordan.
praise.
No. He
this
is Bucko.
And that's Boku.
Oh,
He
okay.
is named for Jordan Peterson.
You don't. Nobody calls
We
him
pronounce it
Bucko.
differently. We
This
have
is
different
proper
You
name.
call him
versions.
Buku.
I know who calls me Timothy.
Me.
She does.
Oh,
Sometimes.
well, I refer to him Bucko in proper terms sometimes. But listen, that's his biblical name. Okay.
That's right.
Agreed
It's
to-
Christian.
You're wrong.
Bucko is his
You're wrong.
Christian name.
You're
Oh,
wrong.
Okay, look on his
How
birth
does it feel,
certificate,
Tim?
Adam.
You're wrong.
He carries the honor of Jordan Peterson.
That's
Yeah.
right. We dilute it.
That may
Listen.
be true.
It's
Emily
understood.
named the cat, and she named him for
You're
Jordan
wrong.
Peterson.
You're wrong.
Okay.
So
You're
we,
wrong.
we can give him nicknames.
You're wrong. No.
He has nicknames. All right, let's jump down to the latest super chats here as we're getting close. It's 9:55, everybody. Kayla Ryman says, "Keep on keeping. God bless. Appreciate it." Larry Goddard says, when anyone starts talking about something being racist or wanting to end racism, I can guarantee with 100% certainty that they are only thinking of white versus black racism, completely ignoring every other race.
Yep.
Larry, you are correct, because early on we were talking about they were targeting mixed race people.
Okay.
And the presumption is you're white and something else.
Yep.
That's always what they mean. They never
a good
mean
point.
an Asian person and a Middle Eastern person.
Right.
They always mean white and something else.
Yep.
You know why it is? These leftists personally view white as the default race.
That's crazy.
Seriously, they are white
They
supremacists
are.
with guilty consciences.
Exactly. I think
That's it.
you're
Boom.
right. I think
Nailed
it's a
it.
good
No, because
description.
I've talked to them about this stuff, and man, I got to tell you, because I probably told this story before, but the guy in North Dakota who told me that the concept of time was created by colonists from Europe.
What?
And I'm
How
like, bro,
condescending.
do you have any idea the things that like Asia invented before the Europeans?
No.
Like-
no, they don't.
No
They don't.
concept.
They have no clue.
There's a multi-thousand-year history from ancient Egypt that we can't even track back. Like, man, these people are so arrogant. So much was invented by people in Egypt,
Yeah.
by people in India, by people in
Yeah,
China.
dude, education has failed us.
Yeah,
But they've-
Zuby posted something I think earlier today. He was like, most of the people I talked to, 70% of Americans probably believe slavery only existed
Right,
in America.
exactly.
And half the comments were like, probably more
Yeah,
than
definitely
70%
more.
believe
And
that.
how
And it's
many-
just like, wow.
How many think it doesn't currently exist today?
All of
when
them.
when there are more slaves
Right.
today
Yeah.
than there have ever been.
I know.
My goodness,
They love to
yes.
complain, and then they're walking down the street with their iPhones, like,
Yeah, where did this come from? I don't know.
It's like, yeah, you know who built that cell phone?
Yeah, you know who keeps those slaves?
Well, in
Oh, sure, they get paid a quarter a day.
right.
They're getting paid.
But let's avoid any semantic weakness and steelman the argument, right?
Middle
Sure.
Easterners.
In Libya right now, black people are being kidnapped and enslaved and sold.
Less than $200 a piece.
That's insane, man.
Yep.
That's,
Wow.
And I wish we could do something to stop it. I don't
That's
know.
insane.
Yup. It's bad, man. It's really bad.
Yeah.
But people just want power, man.
Yeah. Yep.
I see someone commenting saying time wasn't invented. What I mean to say is they believe the concept of time and scheduling was created by white people. And I'm like,
No,
bro,
it was created by the moon.
How arrogant.
it was created by farmers
and crops.
sun.
Who
Yeah.
are like,
growing crops.
listen, moths understand the concept of time
Animals
to a
understand it.
very simple rudimentary.
Yeah.
you know what does? Cicadas.
Yes.
Right.
Those are some
17-year
math
guys?
geniuses.
I
No,
know, right?
There's all sorts of cicadas along because there's different through the prime numbers. It's pretty amazing, the whole math behind cicadas, man. They're crazy.
That is very cool. I did not
Speaking
know
of which, we're due for a cicada attack.
that. Of course
Yeah,
it's
it's
this
coming.
year.
Anytime.
Of course it is.
I think it's either this year or next year. It's gonna be
no.
crazy.
Blue Dragon says Adam is channeling his inner Trump.
Ooh.
Thank you.
Oh.
I
China.
think.
I think so.
Isn't
Yes.
it? Let's be real though. I know this is kind of cliche and it's brought up a lot, but isn't it crazy how popular Trump was until he ran for president?
These
Yeah,
rap songs about
yeah,
it, man.
exactly. He was in,
Yeah.
Be a Trump, and it's like, so he was a boss until he became president, and then
His
the
goal-
Democrats told you he was bad.
Yeah,
was
and you listen to
racist.
them.
All of a sudden, this guy who's got like civil rights awards and
Yep.
accolades is
Right.
racist.
Been around
Exactly.
since the 80s.
Isn't Martin Luther King Jr.'s daughter like a fan?
Yeah, she is. She's a very pro-life lady.
That's so weird,
Yeah,
isn't
she's
it?
super conservative. Yeah.
Isn't it weird that right now it's supposedly the racist conservatives saying let's not judge people based on race, and it's the Democrats who have been historically racist saying let's judge people based on race.
Well, it's not really that crazy. It's just them actually finally being true to themselves. Maybe.
I think it's really funny. Someone shared this photo. You know that photo of Hillary Clinton
Sad.
kissing the former Klansman?
No.
You know what I'm talking about?
Which one?
Hillary Clinton. It's a photo of her kissing
Yeah.
the Klansman.
Didn't she kiss David Duke?
No.
Oh, I thought it was him.
No, it's a different guy. And everyone's like, oh, but that Klansman quit the Klan. And I'm like, he's still a Democrat.
Oh.
Like,
He quit the Klan to become a Democrat.
yeah. So the Klan were Democrats.
Yeah.
And then we went through the civil rights movement. And the Democrats supposedly, the argument from the left is that the Republicans started pandering to racist whites or whatever.
Okay.
And a lot of Republicans argue that's not true. And I'm like, I don't know about all that, man. All I know is that today, all of these problems these people are complaining about, police brutality, stop and frisk, project housing, being torn down and stuff like that. I'm like, that's all cities. That's not happening in
all cities.
It's not the Panhandle of Oklahoma is not dealing with, gang crime and police brutality.
It is
right.
not, no.
Like, kind of, there are some cities for sure in small town America, but nah, it's the big cities run by Democrats.
Yep.
So you can argue that the Democrats preach anti-racism or whatever, but hey, man, I'll tell you what. If you've got a guy who's walking around claiming he wants to do X, and then you take another guy who's claiming he hates X but keeps accidentally making X happen, I don't care what his intent is. He's messing things up.
Yep.
It's like if you had a guy who constantly, like, whenever like a waiter, whenever you see him, he drops your food. And then he's like doing it on purpose. And you're like, he's purposely dropping my food. So you hire a new waiter and they're like, don't worry, this is a new waiter. And then he accidentally drops my food. I'm like, bro, I don't care what he was doing. It's the same problem still happening from the same restaurant.
Right.
Yeah. Stop
Anyway.
hiring waiters that drop food.
Seriously.
Yep.
We do complain about everything.
Hallucinius says, Mr. Poole, you should try to get the Forgotten Weapons gun Jesus guy and take you to a range day once you've received your SIG M400. I have received copious amounts of literature
Oh
on
my
proper
gosh!
use.
I saw it
So
all.
much.
DVDs. There's
stack.
like 4
Everyone's looking
DVDs
out
in there.
for us.
Yeah.
Stacks of books, like breaking down how to do everything, take it apart, put it back together, clean it.
I got to
It's
be honest,
pretty
but like
amazing.
the guy on the cover, the guys on the cover of all these are like the same.
I know.
It's like the same rugged-looking white dude with a gun with like grizzled beard.
Big, huge
And
beard.
I think I know which demographic they're targeting.
Yeah.
But it's really cool, so I appreciate it all.
Yeah.
I definitely, I was talking to a friend of mine, and a friend of mine who lives in Seattle, and they were like, "So you're gonna come to Seattle?" And I was like, "Are you nuts?"
No way.
They're like, "But all this stuff's happening." I'm like, "Dude, they're
No.
walking around with rifles and they're lunatics."
I told you.
Yeah. What?
Nothing.
That my friend was gonna tell me to come and check it out?
No, I told you you wouldn't go.
I never said I would go.
To Seattle?
What do
No.
you mean?
Yes,
Why would
you-
I go to Seattle?
Last week.
Oh.
You mean when I said that if it happened outside of my house, I would
Oh,
I would
yeah.
be happy about it?
No, when we were talking about you were like, I would totally go down and check it out, and I was like, no, you wouldn't.
If I lived there.
I don't believe you.
If I lived there,
yeah.
yes, absolutely.
No, I still
and
don't
I said
believe you.
I would walk up to the people and I would yell at them and I would say get out of my way and I'd cause trouble. Absolutely, 100%.
No,
now,
no,
am I gonna
not if you live there. I was saying this was a different conversation
No,
about
you
you going.
misinterpreted.
Oh, sure.
I said if I lived there,
Let's just move on.
I would make a stink about it.
I don't want to hear it.
So I was asked about a friend if I would go from the East Coast to Seattle, and I was like, no, are you nuts?
Yeah.
I was like, dude, these people are crazy, but I'm not going to travel 4,000 miles or whatever right now
For the chance to die?
to
That'd be
go to the
fun.
Chaz. But
Glad you agree with me now.
my very liberal Seattle living friend said, should I buy a gun? And I said, yes, but get training first.
Yes, be
figure
educated.
out, have someone properly tell you. And because when, like I mentioned, when I went to that training with the Jersey Police Academy, they let me try all these different weapons. And then we're like, now you know which one, you might prefer, which would be better off for you.
Yeah.
And so as your average adult male, I could probably handle a standard, weapon of some sort.
Yeah.
But a small, smaller female might not want to try out a Desert Eagle on their first go. You know what I mean?
Boom.
Have you seen the video of that? The woman, she's like,
It's the first thing I thought
she
of when you
weighs
said it.
90 pounds. She goes, bang. It's like, oh,
Someone should have told her. What the heck?
Or the video where the guys get the shotgun, and usually women, and they pull the trigger and it flies backwards.
Oh my, that's
It's
so
like, well,
dangerous.
at least you're not dead.
I'm spinning.
So-
I'm spinning this UFO right now.
All right, let's do it.
for
This
the
is
chat.
This is the last.
This is for you, chat.
is the-
Everyone who doesn't super chat can't do it for us, but I see you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the last spin of the UFO for the night. I'm sorry to say. But our time has come, and for we must sleep. There is much work to be done in the morning, and I got some good news coming up in the next week for sure.
Ooh.
I've got a special appointment.
Ooh.
Yeah, some cool.
I know what that means.
Some cool, important things are going to be happening, and then maybe eventually we'll have an unboxing video. I'm not going to say specifically, but I think you can understand what that may be about.
They
So
know.
if you
They're not
haven't-
stupid.
For sure. I'm just not going to say it. All right? If you have not already, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Timcast. I post, we'll probably post some skateboarding soon. I've been skating like every day nonstop.
It's true.
Yeah, I had to take a break.
Yeah, Adam's shins are covered in blood.
No, my
ankles covered in
ankles.
blood.
Ankles.
Yeah, covered in blood.
Yeah, my ankles are
'Cause
pretty bloody.
Adam refuses to fall. So that's not the wrong. Adam refuses to not try to land it. Like everything he does, he has to at least try to land it.
It's true.
But in skateboarding, if you're not confident you're going to land it, you can bail, which means you'll kick the board away. Adam won't do that.
I don't bail.
Just
Yeah,
like
man.
he'll try it, and if he slams, he slams. Me, I'm very cautious. But
Yeah,
that
you
means
are.
I skate every single day. I just don't go ham.
Yeah, I can't help it. That's how I roll. That's how
But,
I skate.
But make sure to follow Adam at Adam
Go all in.
Krigler.
Yeah.
On
Yeah,
Twitter.
follow me. Thank you. And I just hit 10K last night. I'm pretty
Look at
stoked
you.
about it.
All famous.
Famous.
Yeah. No, it's great. You know, and I appreciate all of you that are showing me that love. It's awesome. You guys are fantastic.
Somebody super chatted the other day.
Mhm.
Tim, thank you for bringing us Adam.
Aw,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
how cute.
Thank you, whoever
Soy
said
Jesus.
that. Thank you very
That's
much.
wonderful.
I really appreciate you
But
guys.
but for the function of the show, you can send Adam story ideas.
Yes.
So we,
For the most part, yeah.
we plug this frequently.
But besides that, the love from you
The
guys.
love.
Yes, and tweet at Adam relentlessly. Please do it for me.
Love it.
You can also tweet at Sour Patch Lids,
Technically correct?
LYDS.
Yeah,
as
she's jealous of my 10K.
I
so
am, yes.
Let's get her 10K. Come on.
Do it.
Hold on.
Do it.
There are 27,000 people still watching. You guys should both have at least 27,000 more followers.
Oh my gosh.
Come
you're
on.
Right.
Come on with it.
Nah,
Alright.
nah. You
No,
know, people-
not everybody. You know, there
That's
are some
okay,
people that
yeah,
get on
lots of
Twitter and
people
they're
don't.
like, I've never had Twitter before. I just got it so I can send you ideas.
Oh,
And
that's
I
And
kinda-
awesome.
but-
that
but
is
listen-
commitment right
Yeah.
there.
But I kind of don't
Appreciate
like us
that.
promoting Jack Dorsey's platform
Oh,
that
yeah.
way.
So we should, what do we do?
I don't know.
Fol-
Locals.
Follow me on Instagram.
Follow me on
That's
the
Mark
Instagram.
Zuckerberg.
Yep.
No.
Oh, no.
Yeah, welcome to the Nightmare Dystopia.
Enjoy us on YouTube.
At least he's not censoring Trump. He's actually going to host his
You know what we
stuff.
should do? We should get a Nightmare Dystopia graphic.
Yeah, we should.
Great.
So,
oh, let me talk
anybody-
to
Let's
our
let's
dude.
lean into it. Come on.
No, but think about it. Think about the stuff we talk about with censorship and Zuckerberg and Dorsey and Civil War and Antifa.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure someone could make a really cool modern depiction of a Nightmare Dystopia using these themes.
Yeah.
Because all the Nightmare Dystopia stuff has always been like Cyberpunk, 1984, Fahrenheit 451.
That's
But-
true.
But now
Like
we
a
have all
real
these
thing
things.
now.
Now we actually have dystopia unfolding in front of
Oh,
us.
it's
Boom.
wonderful. Just what I wanted.
Yeah, I made a joke
So-
that Rockstar is just taking notes for Grand Theft Auto 6.
Seriously.
Probably a lot of games are. I mean, look, we got that Antifa game apparently.
I mean, they could just do like a
Tonight We Riot.
DLC for GTA 5 of just like the dystopia hits, and just everything goes
Dude,
crazy.
it'll be really
That
fun.
would be pretty intense, actually.
A really fun mod of like Antifa versus,
Proud Boys?
No, I mean they're not really
the
relevant so much anymore.
establishment or
Yeah.
what? I don't know. Oh, they're working together. It seems like
But I
don't even
think
know
I think it would
what's
be really
going on.
fun to play a game like Tonight We Riot, but
Yeah.
making fun of the rioters.
Okay.
Like
Maybe
flip
it
side.
is. I don't
have,
know.
you, have you ever seen?
I haven't played it, so. I
Have you
don't
ever
know.
seen the song? Have you ever listened to the song by Chris Ray Gun, "Punch a Nazi"?
No.
I'll play it for you after this.
Okay.
For those that haven't, check out the song. It's called "Punch a Nazi" by Chris Ray Gun. You got to listen to it.
It's the tune of Paparazzi.
Yeah, and that's the best example. We'll play after this. But
Okay.
All right. So before you go, because many already have.
Smash that like button.
Yes.
That's what you're gonna say, right?
Yes, it was.
Yes, it
Set
was.
me up, dude. I just dunked it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Boom.
that felt so good.
Nailed
We
it.
we do the show Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. We
Yeah.
put up clips of the show every day throughout
That's
the day.
me.
So we will be back tomorrow at 8 p.m. live. But until then, it is time for us to sleep.
Yes.
So thank you everybody for hanging out, and
Smash it. I was gonna say sleep.
I was going to say
Sleep.
thank you for smashing the like button.
Any chance I get.
And we will see all of you guys tomorrow
night,
at 8
everybody.
p.m. live.
Bye, guys.